Start up.
Go. We're live.
Oh.
Coming up.
July. People talking, people filing.
He looks like Laura Lee's boyfriend.
Not.
He does, man. His hair's a little bit longer.
It's the 70s, I think.
I've been waiting such a long time.
Yeah.
Saturday, slow motion riders by the colors of the day. Bondsman still can help but his own way. Little children, all is not lost, all is not lost. Lord, Funny days in the park, every day's the 4th of July. Funny days in the park, every day's the 4th of July. We're reaching, really touching, real celebration, waiting for us all.
Yeah, dude, you're
Really want it, can you do it? Yes, I can. I've been waiting such a long time for the day.
Where's the knife at?
Talking about Saturday.
'70s music or something, '80s music. Music. It's probably like breakdance. Like that's kind of cool.
The piano, for Christ's sake.
You don't know fuck out any grandpa, so let's see how's that. We got the cue music. There's grandparents' music.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that I was on my way.
Sounds familiar, but
And I said, oh, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? No, I can't imagine why. All got time enough to die. And I was walking down the street one day. It was that show about people trying to beat the
How many songs are they going to play? Is this like a whole concert? It's like a second song.
And I said, yes, I said, does anybody really know what time it is?
I know what's going on here, man.
It's the duo. Two songs in one.
this guy gay or something? He might be straight. That's even worse.
I don't care. Life is much too short.
They're like 808.
It's much too short.
If he
You know, straight musicians suck, man. I mean, come on.
Fuck out of here, hippies. Get out of here. This is the
Yeah,
right word.
man. So
Conservatives, man.
I'm getting ready to wait to see what's going on with Puffy Wuffy.
Well, you see the new Pope. The new Pope is talking.
I hear he smells terrific, just like Pope Puri.
Oh, I knew it. Somebody just slap him, man.
First up,
We need to get it.
On a serious note, the new Pope is going after gay marriage, and he's also going after abortion, man. So he's going to restore the values of the church, whatever the hell that is.
So he's going to allow abortion but stop gay marriage, huh?
No abortion, no gay marriage. He said those babies have rights. I mean, you know.
Well, gay marriage has been a sore spot ever since Francis.
That's what he said. They deserve dignity.
Yeah, well, Francis, he pretty much just said, it's not my decision, it's God's, but he's supposed to be the essence of Christ on earth, so then it is his decision. So,
but
he said,
says marriage is between man and
nobody ever thought about this. Francis might have been saying that so people might just go get gay married and go to hell because heaven might be getting full.
Yeah,
crowded. It might be looking like New York and shit.
Nobody's business who you choose to love. If you're,
I agree with that. So you're not going to get argument with me.
Be not some guy that's never been married, sitting in the Vatican. It's got its own secrets, and you know what? That just makes me so angry. Because how does that affect anybody else who you choose to love?
Yeah, I would not be one bit surprised to find out, and I don't think he's going to let the cat out of the bag. But I would not be surprised to find out that in their secret vaults they have the equivalent of the knowledge of the Library of Alexandria.
Absolutely, I agree.
Nah, I don't think they got that much, but
I would not be surprised.
I think they got about a third of that.
Yeah, they got.
More than
so this is how you know. So Alexandria disappeared before the Vatican. Now, if the Vatican would have existed when Alexandria disappeared, it would have probably been a better chance.
Somebody had more.
Yeah, but aren't there supposed to?
No, I don't think they had a chance to, because the way they talk about it was they just rolled in, rammed in, and just tore the place down before anybody had a chance to do anything. That's why it was done like that. They wanted to make sure that knowledge was just, and we can tell that a lot of it was destroyed because every now and then a little twinkle of something will come out, but it's like electroplating. So electroplating has been around about 4,000 years. The Egyptians used it. Okay, that's electricity.
Yeah,
we're pretty sure because of those pictures of those bulbs and these temples that we knew that they had at least rudimentary electricity in ancient Egypt. But it's gone.
I think they had electricity, absolutely.
But it's gone. There's no way to prove it.
The Iraq battery, it's a ceramic vessel that has an iron core and some other parts to it, and you pour lemon juice or orange juice or even seawater, and you get. I think they used fresh squeezed orange juice on the. It was a modern example. They used modern clay and modern iron cylinders and whatever, but I think they got up to like a 9-volt battery charge out of the thing. Which
Baghdad battery. You know what? I made one.
Jewelry and stuff. It's not a great a lot of electricity, but you can electroplate jewelry with it.
Called the Baghdad battery, and actually that's a heavy charge, man. Try making one. You're shocked to share yourself.
Yeah,
look at the pyramids. What they're looking at with the pyramids and what they're starting to see from underground. They think there was
raw hydrogen. So
they think there was electricity back then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They need to figure out what the hell's what.
Electrodes in the pyramid. They found large copper.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jim. Joe. Joe's are the coolest, man.
So. Yeah, I think the pyramid was probably an engine. It seems like it. If you look at it.
I agree.
But
I think Chris
methane down in there.
To be honest with you, if I had to think it was anything, I'd think it was a capacitor. I'd actually have to think that there was just a giant effing capacitor, especially when it was limestone covered.
Residues found in it. Chris has done experiments with the residues of those chemicals, and it creates hydrogen. So that's a power source. A.
So not allow.
I suspected that the pyramid complex was a solid rocket fuel factory for because they have the depiction of the god in South America that looks like he's riding a rocket and flames out the back. And there's always been depictions of, like they say, rockets flying through ancient stories with flame coming out the bottom. Well, somewhere there had to produce that kind of.
So okay. First off,
but apparently it isn't.
It's more likely that it was some type of hard fuel or electric fuel than any kind of liquid fuel. One, there would be residue left behind on the bricks if it was liquid fuel, and there's not. So, but electricity it would not leave a residue behind. So I'm thinking, I do think they were capacitors, which are just giant storage. That's all a capacitor does on an electronics board is just storage. And that's basically what its job is. And I'm pretty sure they were some type of capacitors.
Yeah, but they don't even know
and they were probably generating the electricity. See, Jay's saying a bit fuel, but I don't think it was liquid fuel. I think they were making something else. I think whatever they were using a combination of solar power.
But they don't even know how they were built. Like, there's so many theories. Like, how did they build?
The pyramids aren't that big of a mystery.
We can
Here, I'll tell you about the pyramids.
Not
Here's
as
the way I
accurately.
look at it. The pyramids were set up with those things underneath so they can refuel the UFOs that came down. All they did was land on top of that damn thing.
That's why I'm thinking that might have come from how they were built, because they say they
fueled them.
replicate those tools.
Because if you look at how the Air Force refuels jets up in the air,
yeah,
you know what I mean. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Or the aliens came down and they put a lot of juice into those things.
Especially if they're using a hydrogen reactor to keep their craft moving, you would need hydrogen as a fuel. So if that pyramid,
Jay, do you really think an advanced alien is using hydrogen? I mean, that's basic bullshit.
Who says? We don't know how advanced they were. I mean, they could be less advanced than some of the other races that have been here. But
because that's the problem, though. There's not. Okay, before we even go further with that, there is no evidence for any other than the types of aliens. But there's no evidence for any other types of aliens, but those 5 or 6. There's no. That's like we hear him say 56. There's no evidence for any of that. There's no evidence for anything but the basic aliens that they've been talking about for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
So. All of those are very advanced. They're not using hydrogen.
Here we go. Yeah, that's
so this is the Giza power plant.
Yeah,
this is what they say is the real deal. And this
so they just charge
all the chambers and whatever. But you know what's interesting? Egypt will not allow anyone to replace the capstone, which used to be gold. It used to be a gold capstone.
Isn't that weird?
So why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
And what happened to the capstone?
Oh, somebody stole that a long time ago.
I know,
but all 3 of them had it, and they don't have any of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that what makes it work?
It could be part of the formula, you know.
Gold is weird. Gold's a good pen thing. Gold's just not a very good conductor.
For what?
Gold is great conductor.
Well, no, it is a good conductor. So I was getting something.
It's one of the best.
Gold is a great conductor.
It's actually used. It's
gold, platinum, silver, especially silver.
So gold in a lot of batteries, like cellular, and a lot of stuff.
They use them in a lot of computers. There's companies that actually go out and buy the computers.
So the big pyramid was
not so much anymore.
We all agree that it wasn't a tomb. That nobody's buried there, nothing like that, you know. But
no, we know there's somebody buried there because in one of them there was somebody recovered, so they might have been both.
But the rest of the pyramids were all set up like in a grid. It looks like a power grid. A lot of people believe, electric engineers believe.
Plus, they're all over. Like they've been seen on the moon. They've been pictured on Mars. They've been pictured all over the world. Like,
yeah, but they're not the same kind of. So then that actually does harm to the theory for aliens because they're not the same types of pyramids, and they wouldn't do the same kind of functions. Like all the Mesoamerican pyramids are stacked pyramids, and they're built with small stones. So they're not blocked in
functional buildings, whereas the pyramids really aren't. There's no functional rooms per se.
I guess I was how to make them, and then they were replicated by human beings, then to continue on for whatever their true purpose was, right?
Well, so the first reference to the pyramids is the pyramid text, and they're only talking about the cover stones. So they're covering something with the limestone. See, the Egyptians of the 24th dynasty discovered something in the desert, didn't know what it was, and they decided to cover it and make it look like they built it. So whatever's underneath the limestone pyramids is something different, and it doesn't look like their artwork.
A nuclear bomb?
A nuclear reactor. We don't. I mean, that's the thing. Chris Dunn thinks the reactor creates hydrogen, and it takes hydrochloric acid and another liquid chemical, and together they make gaseous hydrogen. And you can light that and create energy.
Why not put a laser beam in there? Why not put a laser beam in the damn whatever the pyramid? Why can't we make that a weapon?
Well, they think it was. They think it also. Some people think it sent a microwave beam into outer space. I think that's ridiculous. I think there are two chemicals found in it. The two chemicals we have today. You mix them together.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Quietly react and create hydrogen. Hydrogen is an energy.
Okay, but maybe that's what we needed to use as humans, because I got to show that I don't think I think that off-world beings, if they were responsible, wouldn't be using hydrogen either.
Somebody was making hydrogen in that building.
Mm-hmm. I believe that there's hydrogen. I
can tell you this much: the Egyptians of the 4th dynasty, who were supposedly built the pyramid of Khufu or Cheops, they did not know how to make hydrogen, and they did not require hydrogen. Somebody else was making it.
Yeah, but water is hydrogen, and 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. So
the water source that actually helped make the water and the hydrogen was the Nile River. At one point, it did snake right in front of the.
You gotta be able to ionize the water to make the hydrogen.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
So,
How
that's why the power plants don't work. They don't have the water source anymore, and they're off the planetary grid by whatever 27 degrees were knocked off.
How would you ionize the water, Michael?
You need electricity.
So here we go back.
Hydrogen can create electricity.
That's what I thought. I mean, who created electricity?
Nobody.
God.
Lightning. Lightning's electricity. So somebody thought.
Atmospherical friction created electricity. That's how we discovered it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
that is the correct answer. It's from the clouds.
And then you go down another rabbit hole. How did that? I mean, it's crazy, man. You come up with an idea. You think you have the problem solved, and then somebody throws another little monkey wrench into the situation, and you're thinking, "Oh, I could be wrong. Let's go this way." And then it's this craziness, man. Craziness. Just too many rabbit holes to follow to get the exact answer that we need.
There's got to be a reason why we don't know what the pyramids are really truly for, though, in this day and age. Right?
Well, we probably will never know. Even if we're dead, they'll probably have,
That's where the hidden knowledge comes in, for sure.
Has anybody remote viewed back then?
Well,
sure there are. Yeah.
No, but I meant, is there a record of anybody trying to remote view?
It's not the only situation that's set up into a grid. I mean, in Puma Punku, you had the same situation. There are other Aztec pyramids that had the same situation set up in a grid pattern.
Yep.
So you had the one main pyramid there, and then the rest offshoot.
Why do y'all hate on your human brethren so much?
Why?
Him, I mean, really, you thinking that they're that ignorant they couldn't do this?
There are some remote viewing sessions on various video streams about the pyramids.
I'm talking about building these things.
Yeah.
I so far I have not seen anything about the pyramids being built that man can't do.
I've never
nothing
seen
at all.
something that man could do it back then.
It up a little bit. The Egyptians of the 4th dynasty, it's 2425 BCE, before the Common Era, they did not have the proper tools to work granite. They could not make marks on granite. It's impossible. And in other words,
they had lots of tools. High pressure water will make a mark on anything.
Or the crane, they didn't have the compass.
No, Jay. High pressure water will work on anything, and
they didn't have high pressure water.
Yeah, actually they did, and they make a smooth cut as smooth as butter. Mm-mm. Yeah, they proved more than once that they used high pressure water on a couple of things.
The Egyptians,
they actually cut swirls and patterns that they could only be made by high pressure.
They had a high pressure CNC machine back in 24.
They didn't have to have that. You don't have to have all that equipment to have high pressure water.
You just need hydraulics.
No, you don't even have. Well, yeah, hydraulics will work, but if you have a long enough,
you didn't have that technology.
Hydraulics is easy to create.
They didn't have that technology. They
barely. That you know of. You're saying that.
I'm going to agree with Jay, because my research has shown me the same thing, that back then they believed they didn't have the tools to make to
I'm
make
sure
what
they did. But that
you
don't
know
mean
what,
anything.
Ward,
They
but
must
look-
have because they're
look-
there.
look at it like this.
Because we know the pyramids are only 6,000 years old. They're not like the Sphinx. They don't date back 12,000, 15,000 years. There's no water damage on the pyramids anywhere.
Also, think about this. At that time, Egypt was green and plush. It had, there was
Yeah,
a lot of green
15,000 years
space. It
ago,
wasn't
yeah.
desert. It wasn't like it is
Yeah,
now.
about 10,000
So
years
the
old.
reason
they
why
had
there's no
other
water
resources.
damage on the pyramid
They had other
surfaces
resources that
because
don't
those
exist right
surfaces
now.
were assembled in 2425, way after whatever's underneath those limestone bricks was created.
Hi, Kurt.
Hey, Kurt.
They had a lot of technology, man. They had a lot, but so did India. Think about India.
I studied
They
this stuff
think
in
about the
college.
stories
Guys. They don't
about-
have
You-
technology.
Well,
nuclear
John,
bombs.
that's when John worked with them people. That's one of the things he did. They did several television specials about the
At the same time,
pyramids.
the Greek triremes were the #1 best boat on the naval thing. The Egyptians' navy was shit back then. They really were a very weak nation. This was before they really got strong, when the pyramids were allegedly discovered or built.
The oldest pyramid out there is 6,000 years old. It's not even that hard to check.
One that they tried to copy.
The pyramid, the big three pyramids, the one in Giza are not even 6,000 years old. They're actually younger than that.
No, they were.
They're,
they were built
they're
to
not
a
even
line-
that old.
They were built to a skyline of 10,000 to 11,500 BC.
Yes, but they weren't built during the skyline. They were built 6,000 years afterwards, and that's actually in Egyptian writing. So you don't even have to argue about that. Khufu actually writes about this. And Snafu, who is supposed to be the son of the builders, he writes about this. So there's actual physical writing about how a lot of this went down. Remember, they built a bent pyramid first. They talk about the progression from pyramid
You're referring
to
to the
pyramid to the pyramid.
Just the limestone blocks. They don't talk anything about granite. There's no granite in any of those texts. The only limestone.
The limestone was the cover stone. They quarried the blocks. It was almost 50 miles away. They talk about it in a great
75
deal.
kilometers,
And wait,
75
not just that, not even that. Not do they not just talk about it? They talk about they had cut things in to float it down. So there's a lot of what they know what goes on. They've actually even replicated this in Egypt a few times. They've had groups go replicate this. So
with
it's not.
brass, you can cut limestone. It's a very soft metal. It's a very soft stone. It's a sedimentary stone.
Yeah,
It's not- it's not
but
igneous
limestone
stone like
can be made,
granite.
man. You can make limestone with water and sand, which they had both of. That's limestone's not the issue. The issue is the granite, and they said they floated it down. They floated it all the way to the pyramids, and then they hauled it up. I don't see any anything wrong with that. I think it's pretty easy.
Well, the granite
cut
quarry
forward.
is further away than the limestone quarry. The limestone quarry is 65 or 75 kilometers away. That's a long way. It's over 100 miles.
35 miles. If kilometers is half, so it's 35 miles. So that's nothing. Especially if you're rolling it with logs,
Wheel.
even if you're log rolling it, it's still not that far. Especially
Where are
if
they
you're
going to get the
pulling with
logs from? They
elephant.
don't have trees. It's a desert.
What are you talking about? There's
then
trees
they
all
did.
over the place. And it's
Back
not
then
just
they
it's
had
not even
trees.
then. There are nations around them that have trees. It's not like all of the Middle East is a desert. Just parts of it.
Well,
They had
Everyone.
Stones.
and they might have been trading for them trees as far as you know. See, the point is that we do know because of the way the stones were cut that they were cut between 3,000 and 5,000 years ago. They weren't cut before that. The only thing they know for sure that dates back to 12,500 years is the Sphinx. That's it. Not now. Well, there's one other monument they found, but nothing else out there actually dates back that far. So they're thinking there was a original civilization, then there was a remnant civilization, and then there was the Egyptian civilization, which is the same thing with the Toltecs, Aztecs, the Mayans, and Incans. They prove that. One just plays off of each one. So we have proof in South America how it actually worked in Egypt. So we have a good idea that some of the builders came from here and came from there, but we don't know what technologies. Well, remember, Jay, we now know we have cities on this planet that are 16,000 years old.
Yeah,
So
and
we don't
underwater.
know what technologies were floating around back then. We just don't. And
Yeah.
since we lost Alexandria, we don't know what was in Alexandria. As
We
far
don't
as we
know
know,
the
they might have been cutting with diamonds as far as we know. But we just don't know because none of us were there.
How did they lift them? Because that was one of the other problems I
Some
heard.
say by sound.
Well, you could probably use sound, but the best way to cut a stone is you cut it all around, and then you cut the front, and you cut down the sides, and then you pop underneath it, and it breaks loose. Once it breaks loose, you take your guys, you put them on one end with the pikes, probably about 20 of them. You start pushing it, starts sliding. You put it on rollers, you slide it to where it's going. It's going on a boat. You slide on the boat, and you go. None of this is advanced technology. It can be replicated today. So it's none of this. You know, they always made this big mystery out of the pyramids, but when you bring in enough help, and enough elephants,
So
Nothing out there that's been done, and we don't even know if they had a block and tackle back then.
They didn't. They didn't have the fulcrum or the crane, or the wheel or the compass. The hardest metals they had were
Well, we know they
bronze.
had the wheel because they invented a freaking chariot.
Yeah,
It's,
they had like 1,000 years later on.
But we
They don't
don't.
have
That's what
chariot.
I'm saying. But
Look
how
at
many?
this,
How
they
many?
don't have
How many?
chariot till, like,
How many lands of
1400.
Egypt is there? How many lands of Egypt are there as they count them?
A lot.
Providence. We would call them provinces or counties, but how many lands of Egypt are there? So
Well, there's
if you
no
know, so we know this. The top part of Egypt and the bottom part of Egypt are like two entirely different worlds. We don't even know what they had. We know from their own writings there are pictures of wheels inside the hieroglyphs, and there's pictures of what looks to be light bulbs. So that's
Airplanes-
technologies that
airplanes
just
too.
don't
I
exist.
got pictures of airplanes.
So the
Yeah.
problem
And a
is
laptop. I've seen one with the laptop too.
there's technology there that was being used that just simply got lost. But it's like, you know, something Orson Scott Card and I was
Well,
talking about
taken
today.
away.
Or well, it's probably not even that. It's like what we were talking about today on the other show. So, you know, you're only as good as your last thing or whatever's going on. So you write a book and you don't write another one. Sooner or later, people forget, and then more people forget. And then all of a sudden, no one knew anything about you or anything else, even though you only existed 100 years ago, but nobody knows who you are. So we're talking about stuff that went on 6,000 years ago. We have
Doesn't
no
agree with
effing
you either,
clue
Joe.
what
He
was
says
going on.
Egyptians did not build the pyramids. No stinking way.
I'm sure you want to believe that. And next thing you're going to tell me is the Mayans, the Aztecs, Inks, and the Toltecs didn't build their pyramids, but they did, and they were just as complicated
I will say
and
that
just
at
as
least they built
worse
the
than that. The
pyramid on top. They
Toltecs,
didn't build what's underneath. And
the Toltecs not only built cities, they built a fucking thing 10,000 feet in the mountains. Not only that, dammed up areas and filled them with waters just so they could have it. They were far more advanced than the Egyptians were. And
Yeah.
at least that's what you want to say, but they weren't. They were actually less advanced than the Egyptians were. The Egyptians were outstanding astronomers. They understood profession. They mapped the world to 2 degrees, which we can only do with a computer today. No, there was something else going on there. There was a much better understanding of technology than what we know today.
probably being helped along.
We're probably getting about 1/3 of what they actually possess. Let's say the United States gets nuked. Okay, so much of our stuff is electronics now. You'd only recover about 30% of the data. So you'd be going, oh God, how did they build buildings that were 300, 500 feet tall? How did they fly things through the air? No way they could do that. But of course they couldn't. It was all technology. So it's really, truly all the way you want to look at it. But when it comes right down to it, I have not seen anything that would suggest aliens were involved in anything in Egypt until about 2,000 years ago. No, about 3,000 years ago, when the gray shows up in the hieroglyphs going like this. Yeah. It's bad when a gray's sitting there doing this to you, buddy. I mean, come on.
Well, that
Wait,
gesture doesn't even become
I'm
historical
traveling
until the
fucking great.
1500s anyway.
Real quick, Joe and Jay, I sent you this song first break.
Okay, cool. But if you want to really talk about that, John DeSalvo worked with the Egyptians over there for, I don't know, like 30 years, Mr. Lord DeSalvo.
He's a friend
Yeah.
of mine. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either, but that's what he did for a living. He wrote books about it. He's quite versed in the talk. Him and I argued many times, but
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that because he can out-talk you, Joe.
it's on what was the name of this show?
No way,
Science and
really?
Beyond. Actually, the biggest argument him and I ever had was over the Shroud of Turin, which his people did all the work on. He was part of that, and Lord John DeSalvo, actually, but still, he's a good guy. He a couple PhDs. He was smart, but he was
John's a nice guy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
but he was book smart, and and they did. And he actually introduced me to the guy over there who ran the Cairo Museum, which was really nice. And then, because I had met one of the guys earlier on in my life, but then they kind of passed on to retirement, I guess you would call it. The Egyptians don't like to talk about death.
Heidi says thoughts on using sound frequencies to achieve those things.
You could do that too.
Levitate.
He said
huge
levitating
boulders.
huge
Would
boulders.
not be surprised they used it to levitate the rocks. Yeah, that's it. That's
Well,
some of
you
the
know
story.
what? He has a point here. Heidi came back and said something about Stonehenge. And I saw a show on the History Channel or the Discovery.
Stonehenge is easy to prove how they got those there.
Yeah, where they showed that they use like wood, block and tackle
Yeah.
all the way up. I mean,
They did
it
that,
was
but they also
pretty
use
interesting
rollers to get them
how-
there. And you know how they use rollers to get there? Because everywhere around there's a big forest, except in those areas, and there's corridors cut where there's nothing but flat ground where there used to be trees. So somebody came in and cut all them trees out there and used them for something. So yeah, that sounds more like humans too. Well, who would it have been? It would have been, who would it have been?
It's kind
10,000
of
years ago?
cool though the way that they're orientated.
Lord would
towards
know that.
with
Lord, who
the-
would have built?
the, star
Who would have
systems.
built
The
Stonehenge?
Druids?
Who would have built
Maybe the
Stonehenge?
Druids?
Lord,
What's that?
who would have built
Get out of
Stonehenge?
here, you two ho dogs.
For me, I don't know. I have to say, you know what I really think? There has to have been different ideations of Earth, and then something happened. I don't know. I almost feel like we're on the 5th or 6th go around, and then we tend to lose our technology, we lose everything, and you got to start all over again. So
Well, who
I don't know. I
built
think the Druids, did they channel it though? I don't know, because to me, the way they're set up, they align with the star, like the star systems above it too. So that took quite a bit of calculation. But going back to Egypt, Egyptians were masters at astrology and reading the stars and magic and many things. So they got to be connecting with somebody of a higher consciousness, unless they evolved that way.
And I'll tell
No,
you,
but see, nobody ever wants to stop to think that maybe we were just more advanced and we lost it.
That's what I
Nobody
was
ever-
saying
Well,
when I
because-
said like the 5th go
Because
around.
when you stop and you jump back to the Indian cities, because India was a pretty advanced culture back in the day. We're
Mhm.
talking cities 16,000 years ago, and not just little shithole cities. Two quarter of a million person cities with sewage
Actually,
and
they dated at 16,500. They're actually 18,500.
yeah.
years
So
old.
they had running sewage, they had water. I mean, this is long before the Greeks or the Romans did. I mean, this is technology that between there and the time of the Egyptians, that's 10,000 years. No telling what was developed in there. No telling what was lost. See, that's the
I
real
agree.
problem. We don't know what technologies have been lost. All we can say is we don't think they had that technology, but we don't
We
know
don't know
that.
our own history within a couple generations.
But
You
we
look
do
back
know
100
we do
100
know
years
that the Egyptians used diamonds for engraving and for cutting, so they could have easily been using that for cutting stone. See, everybody always wants to think about chisels and stuff, but you don't always have to. Diamonds work just as well. Actually,
diamonds
they
are
were
better.
No, but if
Yeah,
you go back to the theory that we were much more advanced, and then through some, I don't know, tragedy that happened, we had to start all over again. Because this is kind of what it feels like when you look back at ancient civilizations. Like it's like they did seem pretty advanced. With here we are talking about the pyramids, Stonehenge. We're talking about many of these things. So what if that really did happen? Because what I was saying with history, when you go back, like say you go back to 1900, my friend Dan has a website. I just went blank with his last name, but he's gone back and tried to correct where things have been changed in history with his sources. And it's amazing the things that it's kind of like the game of telephone, right? If you look at decades, each year there's a decade, you're sitting in a circle and you pass it along. You start with one thing, and by the time it ends up at the other person at the end, it's a completely different story. I think that's what's happened with our history. Because even look back on stories that we're aware of, and you go back and you look them up, and a lot of the details have been changed depending on what source you use.
I think it's even more dramatic to look at the stories that the what do you call them? The Dead Sea Scrolls. A lot of that is apocryphal knowledge that was part of the Bible at one point, and now they don't want you to think it's real at all. That's why it's not part of the Vatican.
That's
But
Dan Willis.
for
is who I'm
households
talking
of that kind of knowledge, and they don't let anyone look at it.
You
I'm talking
know,
about Dan Willis.
but the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? You had the Book of Thomas that was never put into the Bible. Okay.
There were some that
And
weren't, but a lot that were.
Thomas didn't. They wouldn't put it in because Thomas believed that why do I need to go to a four-walled building to pray to God? Where
That's
I can go
my
anywhere I
thoughts.
want. Where I can go anywhere I want. Go
That's
listen.
exactly what I say. Yep. Mhm.
That's why Thomas
That's
wasn't.
because
put in.
he followed Jesus's split a rock, there I am, split a log, there I am. That was
Well,
one of
my
Jesus'
theory
sayings.
is God is your father if you believe in God, and God is supposed to be everywhere. Why do I have? I've just come up with this. I mean, I never heard it mentioned before. It's not like I think I'm the only one that thought of it, but why do I have to go to a special building to go speak to my?
But see,
father?
now we know all that shit's not true. That DOJ spelled backward is God. So as long as you got a dog, you're okay. Now, if you believe in all the rest of this shit, you're in deep shit. I mean, DOG. I'm sorry.
Here's another thing.
I thought
That's something else in my brain totally different.
is coming in here.
Most original churches were out in
conversation.
groves of trees. So if you look in a Gothic church, if you go into the nave, the main hallway of a Gothic church, just go in and stop and look up, and you'll see that the columns end in like tree branches as they hold the ceiling up. That's why the original churches were out in the groves of trees.
So my friend Dan Willis has a website called www.thewebmatrix.net, and he's gone back to 1900 and gone through and looked up history and what have you. Now, again, he's not the be all to the end all, but he does cite his sources. So even if something resonates, you could go back and do your own research, but to try and correct some of the misinformation within his history. Because all it takes is a couple generations, and you keep getting the same story told one generation after another. Pretty soon that becomes the truth, right?
Okay,
Change. You can do. You need that generations. You can go to a football stadium,
Mm-hmm.
start on the left, and tell somebody, pass it on. Just to give them like
Give a
3
telephone.
sentences.
Yeah.
And and by the time it gets to the guy on the other end of the stadium, it ain't even gonna be nothing like that.
Yeah.
Hell, you just told him.
Mhm.
It's
They did an experiment on Johnny Carson. I think it was like Uri Geller did the experiment. He's the guy that bends spoons.
Yeah.
And he let one audience member, it was like 500 people in the
I
audience.
didn't
He let one
bend
vendor
eyes,
read a 2-sentence story. And then he took the sentence and he told the guy to pass it on to the next guy. And it was a paragraph by the time it got to the other end.
Yeah.
Then it was completely different.
You can even take an accident site. They say you got 20 witnesses, and everybody will have a different version of what they witnessed, right?
That's why eyewitnesses suck. Wait, what about Egypt?
So
Egypt
yeah,
is a
with
great
Egypt,
people.
you're right. It could have been, and I almost feel that way. That it was a lot more advanced and had a lot different technology than what we're capable of.
There seemed to have been a culture on this planet that existed prior to all the main cultures that we talk about today, that were in the Mesoamerican areas, were in the States, we're in Europe, we're in
throw the
Egypt.
Anunnaki in on that.
It's just
Yeah.
somebody was at that. What?
Can you throw the Anunnaki in on that?
Well, the Anunnaki's another thing. It's all who you believe the Anunnaki are. When I started doing research, oh God, before there was water on the planet, it was.
We're here.
I know. I mean, the dinosaurs were just being born too. That's the scary part. It's
We're all the same.
So some people believe that the Anunnaki are human type aliens. Some people believe that they're actually reptilians, and some people believe that they're grays. And I have no idea. And then some people just think that they're the descendants of Cain.
Ooh, that's
Some
an
people-
interesting theory.
I didn't hear that
interesting
one
theory.
before.
Yeah, so and that's what some people think, and that's why they are who they are. Because remember, we are the descendants of Cain. That's why Jesus had to die on the cross for us, because we couldn't go to heaven, because we were descendants of the crazy bastard who killed people and shit.
Murdered his brother.
Yeah, I mean, so we were kind of we've always been in the doghouse ever since. So that's what some people think they were the descendants of Cain. And the Egyptians were something entirely different. And then there's the other problem with the way our DNA is set up and our biological clock is set up. So our body optimal temperature is on Mars, not here. And our biological clock is set to 24 1/4 hours, which is Mars, not Earth. Is 23 3/4 hours. And the optimal temperature here is 10 degrees hotter than the one that's made for our bodies. What the fuck? So we may actually be the illegal aliens on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's prison planet. I think whatever happened on Mars and Venus and the fifth planet and fucked them all up, this was the only lifeboat left. It was probably during the dinosaur era, and they just sent some fucking humans or whatever they were back then here and said, okay, you're on your own. Atlantis probably existed for millions of years. That's why the story is so embedded in our head. But something or somebody somewhere along the line said,
blew it up.
And I'm not thinking they could not be that stupid that they couldn't track fault lines if they could get from Mars to here with massive cities. So, they had a pretty serious technology. So something went on there that maybe one of their weapons backfired. Maybe one of the power plants backfired, Earth's a much different planet than Mars was, but not back then. It would have been pretty close. It would have been more water-like, more air-like. I don't know, people.
And where did all these civilizations go? Lemuria, Atlantis, even Kerry Lane found as this national park. I never heard of it up in the Northwest Territories here in Canada. It's got major high strangeness going on up there. Lots of disappearances.
Well, we've probably found Atlantis. It's probably one of the.
That's what I'm talking about. The whole tribe just disappeared too. That used to.
Yeah, that's happened in South America. It's happened in a couple
but where are
places.
they going?
They're being taken home.
Oh, maybe that's it. So that's what I was kind of saying. That maybe that's going with your point. Like we're not really meant to be here.
These are civilizations that they hit a plateau, and they come take them. They cannot go any further here. In other words, especially technological wise, because the rest of the world was where they were. They couldn't have them here making leaps and bounds. So they probably took them. And whoever was there before the Egyptians were probably taken. It was probably time for them to go home. They came here and developed to a certain point, and the alien said, "You know what? Got to go, buds. Can't stay here. These people are too primitive."
Leave on their own, though, or maybe they evolved to a.
I'm not going to blow that out either.
Leave this planet and go check out this other one, and they just all left at once.
You know, they could have left here.
That there's a bunch of civilizations that's happened with around the world all at the same time. Like not everybody at the same time, but I meant the whole population within that area. Like the Mayans, Atlantis, there's Lemuria, there's heck, I didn't even know about this tribe. They've got bear dogs up there. There's supposed to be some creepy type of cryptid. I'd never heard of those before either.
Well, see, the real problem here is there's too many things pointing to the year 12,500 BC, 15,000 years ago. There's just too much of it. There's too many monuments. There's too many things that go back in time to those dates. It's just something happened, or was going to happen, or something ended or changed. But there's some reason why there's at least 12 monuments built on this planet that go backwards to that date. So the only time they line up with their constellations at 12,500 BC. But these, like Angkor Wat's monument's only 3,000 years old. But yet it lines up with Draco at 12,500 BC.
That's interesting.
Easter Island's even younger than that, and it lines up. I think I always get them confused. It's either Easter Island or Stonehenge lines up with the Seven Sisters. I want to say it's Easter Island because I think
it's Easter Island.
I do think it's Easter Island.
Yeah, I think it's Easter Island too. Yeah.
I forgot which one Stonehenge lines up with, but like I said, there's a dozen of these. None of them were built by the same people. None of them were built at the same time, but all of them, for some fucking reason, point back to this date. So there was something significant. There is something stored in the back of our head somewhere. Something happened in that period of time, but none of us know what the hell it is. But we now know, because of that city that dates back 16 to 18,000 years, when Jay and I was talking about earlier, we now know we were much more advanced much earlier. Because according to modern today,
didn't we live longer too, Joe, back then too?
They say they did, yeah.
Yeah.
They say that in order for change to happen, we had to be slowed down. The problem is if you ever go watch the TV series Altered Carbon, one of the things they talk about in there is they found a way to extend human life by storing you on a disc, and when you die, you just take the disc out and put it in a new body. Problem is you start living. So you're an oligarch. Say you're Elon Musk, and now you're living 500 years. You're worth $100 trillion. Probably own 3 or 4 worlds of your own. I mean, can we even allow that kind of shit to happen on our planet? That outrules the government.
Maybe
no, but that's what I'm saying. With this technology, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're poor, you just got whatever they gave you when you died and were rehabbed. You might get a little girl. You might get some drug addict guy. It didn't matter unless you had money. Then you get to pick your own designer body.
Was that the theory back a couple decades ago with cryotherapy? They froze their bodies, hoping that when they were able to
Well, today though we can build designer bodies.
Yeah. Now
they're outlawed around the world, but we can build them. So if you're thinking 500 years from now, you can build some seriously designer bodies. The way you want them to look, the way you want them to have special memory, all kind of stuff for them. And then anytime you die, your consciousness is uploaded to thing and then downloaded into you never die. You can't die.
Merge with AI.
Kind of the way the Greys do it. I guess whoever did Altered Carbon had read one of those things or heard one of those things when we're talking about the Greys, because that's basically how the Greys do it. They just physically upload their
Or
consciousness.
what
but
if you
this-
merge with AI and then you're indestructible, like a RoboCop or something? I know RoboCop wasn't indestructible, but you'd have the human portion and then be upgraded with the AI, and then
Yeah,
the
well, he was a what do they call him? Cyborgs is what they call him.
So
Part
yeah, what if they do that, right? Because if
well,
you're
the Greys have that. The Greys have these little 3 foot. They're half cyborg, half gray. But then they got the little short gray Greys which control the cyborg Greys, and then they got the rest of the lot that goes along with them. But all of that stuff is kind of scary, kind of weird, kind of makes you worry about what the hell's going on. But when you look at all the civilizations on this planet that were parallel, that had no connection to each other, it's strange. It's almost like somebody was going around, like Johnny Appleseed, planting some seeds here and there, planting some seed. Either that, or when the colonists came from Mars, they said, "Okay, look, we're not going to be able to keep everybody up to the technology. We didn't bring enough of this with us, so we're going to live here in Atlantis, and we're going to start colonies all around the world of us."
Mhm.
And of course, after a couple of thousand years, they started looking differently and acting differently, and they started reverting because they didn't have technology, which is what would happen to us if all of our technology got wiped out. We would revert. I mean, how many of y'all know how to build an engine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could build a lot of electronic stuff, but if I can't, I couldn't manufacture the part. Well, I guess I could with a 3D printer these days, but
Yeah.
I was just thinking that.
but what happens if you anything? You got to know how to build a 3D printer. See, that's what happens, and so much of our knowledge now is stored electronically that, and if it was a nuclear war, it would wipe out both electronic
Mhm.
and books, melt your books.
Or a large-
Was Atlantis a ship? It was Neptune from somewhere else.
It was from somewhere. But the more we research, the more we find that this race on this planet has a tie to the planet Mars. So they're going to have to discuss this sooner or later. I've heard astronauts talk about this, but the problem for me is okay. You can trick me with the biological clock thing and an optimal body temperature, but this body that we're wearing is not an optimal body for Mars. A gray body would be more of a body for Mars. One, it's got those big eyes; it can see more in that low light. It's got long legs, so it can grab itself and pull itself. Because on Mars, you don't have to walk upstairs; you can just grab the thing and pull yourself up, or just jump on the next floor.
Yeah, but
we're
we
stuck. We're stuck in a prison. We're in a prison of
That's I said prison
of
planet.
3D, and we're in a prison of light, a fractal of light. I mean, we can't get out of it or beyond it, and we're also limited of choices. And then we eat chickens and cows. I mean, we use toilet paper. How advanced are people, and how advanced do we need to be to get off this?
They get this thing called the bidet, people. You don't have to use toilet paper. But anyway, as far as eating chickens and say, I don't give a if I lived.
Use your bidet. You still got to dry. You put that dryer
Yeah,
on.
and by the way, no, you got to get the temper heated kind. You got to get the heated kind, man. Yeah, I'm just
I don't
saying.
want no water shooting up my asshole.
Especially if it's cold, man. Especially if it's cold.
Yourself an enema there.
Yeah, get a heated one, man. Get a heated one.
Not
Much
quite
better
that
experience.
powerful, Sean.
I know, I'm joking. You guys forget I
Bidets have a function called
It's for
ball
washing
wash.
your backside, right?
Yes.
Bidets have a ball wash.
Dundee.
There's a button you hit that says ball wash, and that thing comes all the way forward, and it goes shush, 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 shush. But let me tell you, that warm water runs out fast. And once that cold water starts hitting, you want to get up and go. Time to go.
That just means you've been enjoying the wash too much. That's all that means.
It runs out fast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I know. Europeans
Mars.
don't use toilet paper. I hear that
Okay,
all
you
the
were
time.
talking about Mars, and we're not evolved for there, but we've come here, so we've evolved to be on Earth. So
Well,
what
yeah,
if there
we're kind of a child of both worlds now.
but maybe we would evolve back to who we were.
Eventually, we would. We'd get long, dangly arms, and
I don't want to
we'd get-
evolve. I just want to die and go to heaven.
What happens when AI
Mars
takes
is heaven.
over? What happens when people buy those robots at $16,000? What happens when people buy robots to start doing everything for them? All the hard work, all the other stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that because China and Russia got together and they're going to build a power plant on the moon. The two of them together.
Then
But
you
they
get to
decide-
Wally. That's
Power
what
what, though?
Well, they're going to just a tested power plant. They want to start doing power on. They want to start actually collecting territory is what they want to do.
The
Because
moon
the United
should be
States
off
said,
limits. Should be off
well,
limits.
it ain't going to be. And the United States now has said that it wants at least 1,000 square miles around each one of its landing sites on the moon. And Jupiter and China wants to land. There's a place on Mars where it's easier to make oxygen. The materials is more available. It's more ice and stuff like that. So, and you can make fuel there too. So, they're going to build a power plant there. China and Russia. Now, if it was just China, it would probably go a lot faster. But Russia's going to probably slow things down. You know how Russia is. But still, it's ambitious.
To keep all the effort, you have to reactivate the magnetosphere so that the solar winds don't burn it away.
Well, no, this is just going to be for the next 200, 500,000 years on the moon. We're just going to be building stuff on the moon and living there, just like Nash, Pluto, and things like that. It's just going to be like Earth, but it'll probably be shielded or covered with something, or it'll be built on the ground. More than likely, it'll be shielded or covered by something.
Or Elon Musk will bring his genetic army of all the progeny he's created. And
all the rich people will be there, and then he'll launch biologicals on the Earth and kill all the people.
So right now, Elon has 8,650 satellites of Starlink.
I thought you were going to say kids because he's got enough darn kids too.
And he's got 14 or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's getting up there though. He's getting up there. Mm-hmm. He's only got one that don't like him.
Yeah.
The trans.
Yeah.
The trans.
He, she, it, yeah, whatever it is.
It's Virginia or something. Her name is or
what no, who? You know what, Gene? No, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't care what sexual. I don't care if you're trans, not trans. None of that shit makes any bit of difference to me whatsoever. The only things that bother me is like when I was watching that trans guy the other day, trans girl guy, whatever the hell you call him. He's in the race with these girls. He set a record, and the nearest girl that came into him was a full 20 seconds behind him. So there's no way you're going to say it's fair to the girls. And you know what's really bad? You can see it in these girls' faces. This broke a lot of these girls. They're probably not going to run anymore if this is how it's going to be. Because why bother?
Why bother? Because it's going to go to guys.
Guys' leg muscles are so much bigger.
Men are stronger and faster in ways that most women will never catch up to. And the same thing is, I agree with you with sports. That's not fair, right? But then again, you got to turn it around the other way. And we talked a little bit about this last night. It's the same thing though. And I believe it or not, I can never see myself being an RCMP officer. At one time I went through everything. You were on a hiring freeze. But my whole point is, if you set the standards lower, or you can even take a firefighter, for example, and a woman gets in there. If you're not as strong as, say, most men generally, you got some 400-pound guy you got to lift down a ladder. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to do the job. And it's the same thing with
should
sports.
Women be cops?
Sports for a reason.
Should they be police officers? Should they be soldiers?
I feel the same way about police officers. I think if you're the height and the weight and you're able to do what the requirements are fine. And I know people may not think that's fair, that they've been changed a bit to let women in or whatever, but you got to be able to have the physical strength and the ability to be able to do the job. And I think I can say that as a woman. Like I said, I even applied. I'm not a small woman though. Before I hurt my back, I was almost 5'10", and like I'm a bigger girl. Like if I couldn't do what I was supposed to do, I shouldn't have been in there either, right?
A lot of female cops get punched out and they get their guns taken away.
I saw that video.
That last one. It creates a dangerous situation. A lot of female soldiers have been taken prisoner of war, have been raped and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I understand about equality, but equality to your limitations.
On both ends, though, because if you're not able to do what everybody else is on the job, you're the weakest link,
and
you're dealing with
that guy.
That guy hits the weakest link, and then your coworkers have to protect you too. So I think you got to be equal. Be able to do the job.
We were going through TS through Special Forces training.
You
had to be able to carry every guy in your
official music video. You know what that means? It means we're going to be kicked off.
Oh man, now who's Sean? Don't get us kicked off.
Yeah, this Sean just picked.
Okay, tell everybody before we play the music.
Okay, people, if we get kicked off of YouTube, we're on Rumble. People,
let's have a blast anyway. Get that shit off of there.
Yeah, I got the link.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell
What's
you
the
doing?
name of the channel if people are looking, just in case? Because otherwise we can't hit them up if that
Hey
happens.
guys, the link for the Jojo Mon channel on Rumble is in the private chat if you want to copy and paste it to your, message streams and whatnot.
Well, what's the name of the channel though, Jay? Like, is it
This
under
is the Jojo Mon one.
If it
And
says
then there's
official
UFO
music
Paranormal.
video, you don't
JoJo
want to
Paranormal? Okay.
No, UFO. There's UFO Paranormal. There's JoJo Mon 1 and UFO Paranormal.
If it says official music video, we
No.
don't
Well,
want
no. Sometimes when it's official, they'll let me play it, and they'll just make me take it out of
Yeah, but if
copyright.
we
And
tell the
sometimes they're like,
listeners
"Fuck you," and kick me off. I
Yeah,
don't
but if
know
we
what
tell
the
our
hell the
listeners
difference is.
ahead of time, then they'll be able to know where to find us instead of us trying to
Okay.
find them.
All right.
after.
We're gonna go test this theory out. Michael's probably right here, but we're gonna I can find out in about a minute.
You
So
can't
everybody
find
see if
this.
you
It's
think
JoJo Paranormal.
I
you
like
said?
this. No. So JoJo 1, it's JoJo Mon 1 is one of the accounts, just JoJo Mon 1.
Okay.
And the other account is UFO Paranormal. It's two separate
Okay.
accounts.
I think you put us on JoJo Mon 1 though, didn't you, Jay?
It don't matter. Yeah,
Oh, he put it in there. Good job, Joe. Good job.
Yeah, I didn't set up the UFO Paranormal, so I didn't get the.
All right.
that one.
So
So you
this
can find
guy.
us there if something happens.
All right. Somebody send me Tom Sawyer for the next break. Here we go. Okay. Oh shit! I was getting ready to hit end. Damn, boy, I would have fucked things up real good. I would have fucked things up real good. Now, can we commentate during this song? You know, like
Yeah. You know,
get your hands out of your pockets. We know what you're playing with. Laura Lee looking at what he's playing with. Shame on you.
No, that's
Y'all
not.
can. I seen her, guys. Y'all know she's being bad.
You checking it out?
I've seen the man at the liquor store begging for your chain.
I'm actually
Hair on
going
his
to
face,
special.
dirty dreadlocked in for the main.
Somebody needs to shave, man.
Yes, a man for
That
what
fucking hair.
despair with shame in his eyes. Get a job, you fucking slob.
Beep.
God forbid you ever had to walk a mile in his shoes. Then you really might know what it's like to sing the blues. Then you really might know what it's like. Then you really might know what it's like. Then you really might know what it's like.
The Dillian speaks now.
Then you really might know what it's like. Mary got him drinking from a kid named Tom, say he was in love. He said, don't worry about a thing, baby, doll, I'm the man you've been dreaming of.
Yeah.
But 3 months later, he say he won't date or return her call. And she swear, goddamn, it's fun that man cutting off his balls. And she heads for the clinic and she gets some static walking through the door. They call her a killer and they call her a sinner and they call her a whore. But God forbid you ever had to walk a mile in her shoes. 'Cause then you really might know what it's like to have to choose. Then you really might know what it's like.
This ain't as good as the girl riding around selling drugs, man.
Then you
that song?
really might know what it's
On a bicycle.
like. Then you really might know what it's like. Then you really might know what it's like. Seen a rich man beg, seen a good man sin, I seen a tough man cry. I seen a loser win and a sad man grin. I heard an honest man lie. I seen the good side of bad and the downside of up and everything between. I licked the silver spoon, drank from the golden cup, and smoked the finest green. Still the baddest dimes.
You be smoking your money, man. That sounds bad. Smoking green.
You know where it ends, yo. It usually depends on where you start. This kid named Max used to get fat stacks out on the corner with drugs. He liked to hang out late, he liked to get shit faced and keep the pace with thugs. fight, Max lost his head. Pulled out his chrome 45, talked some shit and wound up dead. Now his wife and his kids are caught in the midst of all of his pain. You know, it comes that way, at least that's what they say when you play the game. God forbid you ever had to wake up to hear the news. Then you really might know what it's like to have to lose. Then you really might know what it's like. Then you really might know what it's like. Then you really might know what it's like to have to lose.
Welcome to our world, everybody. Welcome to the world. Thank you, Joe. Did we get bumped?
I don't think so.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money.
Yeah, I don't believe you do. I think you're full of shit. Okay. Who's getting $63,000 a month? You're doing what on Amazon? I'm sorry, I had a baby while I was gone.
Did we get bumped?
No, I don't think we would. Knowing it down. No, I think we're good. Everybody looks good. We got a promo coming up, but other than that, everything else looks good. I hope y'all enjoyed it song. That's what used to be one of my favorites. You know, the one I can't think about is the one. Oh hell, what's the name of it? They just got the little kid. No, not the kid. The girl riding around on a bicycle, doling out drugs all day. What is the name of it? It'll come to me one of these days. Let's see. I was getting ready to put this up. I was putting this up. Where's it at? Okay, present and share to you. There we go.
I'll briefly summarize these findings allowed us to construct a 3D model of the entire complex. The examination of dozens of tomographical images obtained from different angles using color space and umbra radars enabled the 3D reconstruction of most of the objects in significantly half rate. Below, we present the images from our 3D analysis. The analysis of the structures above Belzoni's chamber are intensely colored spots we observed appearing in all tomographic images taken from different angles corresponding to internal artificial structures. On the next page, it is that improvement of the signal to noise ratio, revealing the internal structure of the 5Z, consisting of 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. So this is the raw data that they used to create the model. And this is the model. So it reads the tomography with another cross-sectional line showing the presence of vertical structures. And if you think that was pretty mind-blowing, it then goes on to say, as observed in the 3D model below the ground level, around 0 of the main structure, vertically aligned cylindrical structures extend for hundreds of meters beneath the perceptible flow. Notably, 8 of these structures, arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south, descend to a depth of 148 meters, merging into 2 large cubic structures measuring approximately 18 meters per side. These features are illustrated in the topographical images.
The audio is not really good on this. It's very hard to follow. But is there a reason why we're playing?
Even more interesting.
It's well, this is its latest find on
cylindrical structures
what they say they found underneath the pyramids. Hold on,
vertical wells, which are
that's her voice, is what it is.
Nah, it's the audio. It's going in and out. It's chunky.
Oh, it ain't doing that on mine. It's crystal clear, but she's got an irritating voice. It's but yeah, it's on mine. It's just nice and smooth. There's no telling what that's about. It's but That's what they said. They supposedly found. I can only find two. I found the original two people who said they did all the work, but I haven't found any peer reviewed anything that actually backs up the work.
Yeah, and from what I was gathering, they only really have like preliminary data to even go on. So they need like a for real survey, which I don't think that they're going to get.
Yeah, it's just.
I believe that there's somebody out there trying to debunk that whole thing. In fact, there's
There is. Well, no, it's not. They're not trying to debunk it. See, there's no debunking going on. You have to prove that it's real. It's not about debunking now. You made the claim that you found these. You got to prove that you did. You got to have. It's got to be peer reviewed.
And that dude said that the equipment that they used wasn't really that good in order to get that.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing. I see all this has got to be looked at, and we got to know what's actually going on. Who's, who was it? How reliable are these people? Shit like that. Can you take them at their word? I mean, I really haven't heard that much about it. I mean, I found it interesting because it could change the way you looked at the pyramids if it's true. But there's been so much bullshit that's been put out at Giza that it's hard. It's hard to take things at faith, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's I also think that's Zahi Hawas's fault for him being, he basically sold off their heritage as the minister of all their antiquities.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, they really need to figure it out because it's kind of sucking the way it is, and we need to know. I mean, the world, and not we, but I mean the world itself wants to know. We're like, well, what is this? Is this really truly an epic find, or is this something that somebody made up, or is it something in between?
It's called the horse's ass syndrome.
That's the fucking problem. It may be the horse's ass syndrome.
That humans think that they're self-superior and that we're the center of the universe and then we know everything, but really we don't know anything.
We don't know jack shit.
Like fleas on the dog situation than anything. But what do we do with the information? I mean, if you give me information, I know what to do with it. But what do we do with that information? If an alien landed right there at your house and walked inside and started communicating with you, what do you do with the information? You know what I mean? Like it's not going to make people better. It's not going to change people. It'll just fuck people up even more than they're already messed up. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to be able to process this information. So, it's good to look in the past. It's good to look to the future. It's better to look at today and how people are living, trying to make life better for each other and go forward. If people want to go forward, that's how you go forward. Not wasting resources on the past. Because the past already happened. It's done. It's gone. You can't undo it, whatever. It doesn't mean shit. Look at the Knights Templar, right? They had all kinds of technology, didn't they? They had all kinds of stuff. And then they wanted to stomp them out because they got too powerful. And then, what happened? They hunted them down. Trusted knights hunted them down like dogs and murdered them, right? Because of information. So it's better just to stay away from people, live your life, have the things that you like. Love the people around you, take care of the people around you. But that's my advice for the future. Stay away from people.
Thank you, Mike. I like that. That was
Good advice, Mike.
Really, because people aren't going to make you happy. And if the shit hits the fan, those people are going to become adversaries. It's not exactly like, oh, we're all friends here. You know what I mean? It's like, a team. Humans aren't a team. Are people who stay at the same hotel a team? You know what I mean? Like just because you're in one place doesn't mean you're all connected and able to help one another. But whatever. Strength of community. Look for that small community. You want to be happy? Live in a small community and then know people. Volunteer. Go out there. Give of yourself. Let people know who you are. I don't do that shit, but that's my advice. I hide inside and work. I hide inside and work all the time. That's what I do.
It's
running away from the industrial civilization that's shaking my house. I'm running away from that shit. I'm gonna find a place. I might even buy a fucking RV and go wherever. I can work in all 50 states. Cool. I can work in any state, so whatever, man. I can just go.
Thunder Bay. Go to Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay? No Thunder Bay. Are you kidding?
Too cold. Are you crazy?
It's
I'm
actually
not.
not.
I'm not looking north.
I'm looking to move. I want to move somewhere by the ocean, sand, sun. That's where I want to go.
Sand sucks, man.
Well,
Gets
try
in between your.
shoveling. Actually, Michael's right. It is cold in the wintertime. It's cold, and you know what? I just stayed here because of my son. My older son's got a life of his own. I want to go somewhere where it's warm, and
Go to Pismo Beach like Bugs Bunny.
yeah,
Going down to Pismo Beach.
Sand, just enjoy life.
You know where there's nice rural beach that you can still find where horses run wild is in the Carolinas. You can find really beautiful beach there.
But it still gets cold in the Carolinas.
Yeah, but there's several islands with those horses.
Definitely
is one of them.
You can't survive 50 below zero type.
I don't say it often, but I'm a chronic pain sufferer, and I got bad ever since I was young, arthritis. And when I'm somewhere warm, I got no pain. I feel comfortable. So if I'm going to move, I want to make a big move somewhere warm and just enjoy the rest of life.
Yeah, move to Key West.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the end of the world comes, you can paddle a boat to it.
Too expensive, man. Key West.
What's that, Sean?
Go move down next to Joe.
Oh, sure. He wants me camping in his backyard, I'm sure.
Go down, live in that swamp music.
Well, Mississippi's a great place to live. It's as long as you're below Hattiesburg on the coast, it's a great place to live.
Especially if you guys assimilate us, then I won't have to worry about moving to the States. I'll be one of y'all.
Yeah.
Let me show you that game where they grease a wild pig, and then you got to chase after it and get a hold of that, like grab a hold of that.
I won't be hunting wild pigs.
I think that's how they elect their officials there. Something like that. Something like that. Or like, what's that thing with a monkey? They make a hole so the monkey sticks his hand through, but it grabs some food and he can't get his hand out.
Yeah.
That's how we get most of our presidents, I think.
That's me. Actually, I was trying to see, and I think it's fake, but I was outside for a fresh air break on the break. They've got this all over the place, and it's so AI. It's funny. 50-foot megalodon basically beaches itself in Mumbai 2 weeks ago.
It's interesting. As the ice melts from the end of the ice age, which is what we're experiencing, they're finding all kinds of shit. They're finding people.
But I wanted to see if this is real. It said people are running for their lives, but what they forgot with the AI, when you look at it closely, and this is what people don't look at, right? So the shark looks like it's coming up with this wide jaws, and there's people right on the pier just standing there going, doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I thought they were running for their lives.
Do you think at some point they're going to find a UFO melt some kind of more advanced technology?
I would not get that at all. I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
Be interesting.
I want to know what's in Antarctic.
There's a lot of stuff.
Pyramid. Pyramid.
The Master.
There's nothing under a mile and a half of ice. I mean,
that was green. That was green and plush too at one time. That was a jungly type of place, you know.
You know who knows lots about pyramids is our own Michelle DeRoche, because nothing to do, well, kind of with the show. I asked her about 6 months ago, and she sent me so much information about the location of pyramids around the world. Ones they still have, well, we don't know if they've discovered them or not. Ones that used to be, and it just blew my mind how many there are.
The one thing that scientists agree on is that something major happened. If it was green and plush in Egypt, and also the South Pole, and also Utah and all that. I mean, there's dinosaurs out there. That was like jungly too, and whatever happened, it happened. And then
the Dead Sea, if you look at it from way up, like I guess the space station or whatever, it looks like a big black scar, and then in radiation levels, there's radiation coming off there. So where did that come from?
Yeah, it happened. Whatever happened.
Playing from space.
Mm-hmm. Something happened.
But it wasn't like an asteroid. It was something else.
I don't think so either. I think it was something else. I think so. We're just
what
never.
What do you think it was, Lori? What do you think it was?
I think there might have been a war before. I think I really believe it's been 5 to 7 times we've been around this whole thing civilization and then something breaks out that ends it. You can't tell me the dinosaurs all died all at once and there wasn't any other civilization.
No, they did, because I know some astrophysicists at Cornell that'll tell you that whatever happened, it happened above the Earth, and it was an explosion, a massive explosion. They believe it was in Russia, somewhere around there. They haven't even, Russia's got areas that are still not explored. They've got all kinds of swamplands and hundreds of, maybe even thousands of miles if you think about it. But they said it was around Siberia, and that's where the big boom happened. And this boom went around the world, and it killed all of these large creatures. The larger creatures died, the smaller creatures stayed. So, and it's interesting because, the evidence points to that. When, like in an investigation, when you don't have the evidence right in front of you, you can look at the happenings around it to try to put the picture together of what and when and why and how it happened, and then the ultimate goal of what happened. You know what I mean? But
we never even found out what happened to those 6 scientists. So I think it was around Siberia, wasn't it? That they went out on an expedition, and then all they found was bits and pieces of them in their tent. They never found out what caused that even.
Oh, I think there was 6 college students. They were maybe science.
They were in a science program, I thought, though, weren't they?
Scientists, they were students, but 5 or 6 of them died in Ukraine. They were students.
They were
Speaking of evidence, Carrie Lynn and I got 3 EVPs on our show. 3 EVPs on Thursday night.
Yeah.
We were talking about, I know I mentioned it a bit last night, but it was, we were doing mind creatures. And Carrie Lynn actually said at the beginning of the show, who knows, maybe the spirits will cooperate. And you can hear it. It sounds like a whistle blowing 3 times during the show.
Mm-hmm. Can you play
it? We clipped it. I can
you know what? Before we came on UPRN, me and Jenny were on another one, and during our radio show, we actually caught an EVP, and you know what it said? "Quote unquote."
It said
Sean.
What?
It said Sean. Sean.
Wow.
Go to hell.
I gotta find it here.
It did.
Were you being mean to the ghosty?
No, man. He just didn't like me. No one likes me, Joe. Come on. Don't you realize that?
Whatever. Everybody on our network loves you, so that's bullshit. You got to say that for somebody else. It's
Where did I put it?
Whoa, what was that? Sorry, somebody just sent me something crazy.
Oh, did they? I'll find it and I'll send it here. I got it. I just got to find it in my notes here. Is this it? Yeah, I found it. Hang on. I'll send it.
I found it, man. I found it.
I found it. See if you guys hear it. But we, people on the show heard it too. So I didn't hear it when it happened, but Carrie Lynn did. So we marked it and then we went back and sure enough, you can hear. We thought it was just once. It was 3 times. Somebody's messaging me here. Hang on. I'm just sending it to myself. Give me 1 sec. And then I will pull it up. If it ever goes. Oh, I think it got sent through. Yeah, it did. Okay, give me a sec here and I'll upload it up. We clipped it just to put it on social media, but hang on. There we go. I'll pull it up. Present. Share screen. There we go. Share. People are messaging me. Sorry, guys. Okay, I know it's not that big, but hopefully you can hear it. I'm going to put the audio on. It's not on. Good. There we go. Okay, give me a sec. It's starting.
Purported to have dark rituals happen.
Okay.
So if that's the warning or part of the energy connected to whatever those rituals were that they were doing. But any ritual, depending on your intent, is going to open a doorway, poke the energy, create something. So,
did you find much on weight?
Did you just hear? Okay,
what were you going to say?
Did anybody else hear whistling, folks that are just listening?
Let's mark it. What time is it? Okay, 8:30. I don't know if we're past how far in we are.
No, but I want you to check. Oh, a minute, an hour 15. Did you hear? I heard whistling. I'm not joking.
Honestly, Lori, I did not hear it.
You didn't hear it? I'll have to. It's not loud, but you can hear it. I'll send it to you if you want, but you can hear it. When we listen to it afterwards, there's actually 3 times you can hear it. This whistling, and there was nobody at her house, nobody in my room. We tried to debunk it. There was no reason for it.
And you guys are nowhere near the Appalachian Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, we were talking about cave creatures. So I don't know, like miners and Tommy knockers and things like that. So
they did whistle. Tommy knockers whistled.
I'll show you guys a cool pic, man.
You always have the best pictures, Michael. Like I still can't get over the ones you pulled up of that lady. You were at your friend's house, and then it looks just like her picture.
Oh wow!
This is outside the Church of the Damned. It's actually in Millville, Pennsylvania, not too far south of where I am. And we went there and got this picture, and it appears to be some kind of woman. I mean, this is a terrible.
Oh,
terrible
you shoot
place,
this
really.
one too. Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it, at that.
Mike, you got that one of the lady? Because I remember you showed this one, which is incredible, but the one that you guys caught on camera, that guy's aunt that passed away.
Yeah, she has a lot of detail. Here
that
you
was
can see,
the best one I've ever
some
seen.
detail to her face here, and you know, I don't know, it's interesting, but this place, like people go in there and get possessed, like they get taken over and then attack each other and stuff like that. And I don't feel like the energy was from the church originally. I feel like since it was abandoned, that people go in there, they do rituals and whatever, and then whatever they bring through is what they bring through. Right, but I mean, this is a pretty good picture, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome. You can almost see her hands, like right down where her hands.
It looks like she's wearing like a hood too. Like you can see like the folds of a robe over her head.
Yeah, there's definitely some detail that aren't consistent with the building itself. Because you can see it is kind of see-through-ish, she is, you know, but there's parts of her that just
does that look like her hands, Michael, down below in the front, or what do you think that is?
This down here?
Yeah.
This was like some stones on the ground.
Oh, okay. That's why I wanted to ask to be sure.
Yeah.
You said that was hands, and I thought, no, that's not hands.
Yeah, but I can see details in the face, you know, that's not like some Padilla.
Oh, now I can. Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
The best thing I've ever.
It's actually a scary freaking face.
Yeah.
This doesn't give me a good feeling. This entity.
The best picture you ever showed, Michael, was when you were at that guy's house. Like I swear to God, I posted that everywhere. Is a and you could tell it was a spirit.
Yeah.
It looked like a portrait of a woman. It was so incredible.
Yeah. That was a good investigation. I mean, those are the best pictures we ever got that had so much detail. We were lucky. We were really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But,
okay, Jay, since you work with cameras and photography, your first thought if you saw that picture?
Well, whatever that is, it's physically blocking light from the building. So it's there, whatever it is. It's blocking the building. I mean, you can see around the edges where it's a little.
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah.
But through the bulk of it, it is blocking all the light that's whatever's behind it. So it was there enough to block physical light from, reflecting from the building.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, Jay. You could tell, right? You can still see part of the building on the outline around it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you were just, you did not know anything about the paranormal, and would you think it could have been a camera glitch?
No. If you zoom back out, it looks at first like a hedge, like an evergreen bush standing there.
Okay.
But then when you zoom in, you can start seeing like a head and the shoulders. See right there, it looks like a natural formation. It looks like it could be just a regular bush just there in the foreground. But when you zoom in, then you see the hood, and then you see shoulders up underneath the hood.
It's a great picture. It really is.
I'm going to send you Sean, that clip, and you see if you put some headphones in, if you can't hear it, the whistles.
Okay.
I'll show you another one that is a really cool photo. Let me stop that. And it's got a cool story behind it.
Oh, and by the way, Laura Lee, the picture behind all of us, that's a painting that I did.
Well, where? Sorry? Oh, that's beautiful.
See,
oh, Michael, that's creepy.
So this is
oh,
so
yeah,
this
I
was
remember
taken.
this one.
Yeah, this was taken at a. It used to be a place for insane people, upstate New York, you know, and then they do tours now, whatever. And there's like a newer psychiatric facility, and then but this is on the old. There was a guy that was sent there who was in New York City. He'd be drunk and fighting and whatever, and he got sent to this place. If you got sent there, you didn't leave. You were there forever. And then now this dude was the one who dug the graves. He dug them all by hand. And then where he's sitting, there used to be a shack that he would stay in the summertime, even though he was an inmate there. But yet he was just digging he dug all the graves there by hand. And we believe that's him sitting there. We believe that's where he used to chill, you know. And I looked him up online. You know, I actually found his name and all of his information. He's got the same bald head, like the picture, all the pictures that I found, like it's the same kind of round. I don't know, but he was definitely
like an eye socket and things.
I know, it's weird, right? Look at that. He's looking right. He's looking right at it. That's what it looks like to me.
Skeleton almost.
It looks like he's just looking right, like, hey, I see you. You know what I mean? But that was a good picture. But people go up there all the time. You know, it's pretty famous. They do tours and stuff like that. My friend Pete went there and he got a bunch of photos just doing the tour, walking through.
Whatever those restrictions were that they were doing.
That's a beautiful picture you painted, Jay, by the way, in the background. That's beautiful. Very nice.
I heard that, Lori.
What?
The whistle.
I think it is a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
That whistle.
Oh, you did hear the whistles? You did hear them now, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I sent them to all of you. That's the picture, Michael. That just gets me. Oh my gosh.
It's a black and white figure in a color background. It's
wait till he tells you the story.
Yeah.
Like, get a load of that.
That's crazy, man.
And that was really before AI too, Michael?
That's the best picture I've ever seen ever.
That blew my mind. I remember
we were really lucky to and it's funny that she's standing right there where the desk is. Like you know, like you can't stand there because the desk is there. Like you see the guy's computer monitor. He was an architectural landscaper, so he had the big monitor.
Didn't you have a picture of her too in life too? I remember when you showed it, or am I wrong about that, Michael?
I got the one with her and Peter.
Yeah, that's what I thought because I remember. I never forgot about this. This is the best picture I've ever seen for evidence that's ever been captured.
Yeah, I can't get there with this, but let me open that one.
U.S. Army Vet 7077. Joe Montaldo needs to throw up some pictures of Gray so that people have claimed to take. Sorry, didn't have my glasses on.
See, this is with her and Peter. Now look at how solid Peter is. I mean, he's solid, but she's right in his face, man. Like, look at that. Like right is so where she's standing. There's a desk there. You can't stand there. You know, I mean, like when I first saw these, I was like, "What the heck?"
Those are the best pictures I've ever seen. Hands down.
This was our second investigation ever. I mean,
wow.
You know, and it was right after the holidays. You can see January 16th, 2010. It was right after the holidays. And the guy had started seeing things in his apartment. He started seeing like right there by his desk. His computer keys would be typing, but nothing would be typing out. He would see floating wires, like he had these speaker wires, and then he would see this apparition kind of around. And then Pete first went there, put up a couple hunting cameras because that's what we use, you know, initially anyway. Hunting cameras are awesome for a lot of reasons, but
yes, they are.
Yeah, you got to have the right ones, and Just make sure that's got a real quick trigger time for that PIR sensor. So, but anyway, and this was not even infrared. This was, you know what this was? We took a UV light. I was experimenting with light.
Right.
So I took UV light. We screwed it into like a drop light, mechanics drop light that had it shone. It shone the whole room. So that whole room was doused in UV light. And I'm wondering the difference if that was something that helped expose this guy's aunt. Because when he saw her, he was like, "Oh my God, it's my aunt." He basically passed out. He didn't. I don't think he lost consciousness altogether, but he was just blown away with seeing those photos. And then he went and got his family photo book, opened it up, showed us a picture from the late 1950s. That was the woman. That was the person. And you can tell, I mean, in the other picture, she's holding a box. She had really long fingers. And then in that photo, she also had those long fingers. Same hair, same face. It was cool, man. Like, wow. And I asked Pete, I'm like, did you feel anything? Like a cold spot or like anything? Like anything? Like, he said he was putting his recorder on the desk, his voice recorder. So that's what he was doing. He just walked in there for a second. So, but we were all in the next room. There was only 4 of us there. We were all in the next room, and we started hearing noises from that room. And then at one point, we're asking her questions, and then the whole room filled with the smell of fresh roses, right? And then, so I smelled it first, and I'm like, "Pete, do you smell that?" I'm like, "What do you smell?" He said, "Roses. I smell fresh roses." I didn't say anything about roses, but and then everybody started saying it. I'm like, I asked David, the guy from the apartment, I'm like, "Do you have any kind of air freshener, anything that sprays, like something periodically?" He said, nothing. And he said, but his aunt and his grandmother loved fresh roses. They lived in California, and then they always had fresh roses in the home, and that's a way to communicate with you. The things that you remember. You know what I mean? It's funny. The camera is actually called a ghost camera. It's a Remington, even though they didn't mean it for ghost hunting.
I know, but those are the best pictures I've ever seen, anyways.
Yeah, I can't believe that she's right in his face. I mean, that to me was just like, wow, that's pretty freaking cool. I mean, like right there, man, like boom. But
no mistaking that.
And you can see the blinds through her head. I mean, like, you can look at the pixels, you can look at all that. It's all. It is what it is. I mean,
even look at the date of the photo too. Like Photoshop wasn't nearly as big as it would be, or AI or anything when it was taken. So
yeah, Pete and I wouldn't even know how to do that. Photoshop.
No, but if people were being jackasses and saying, "Well, you can just,"
I used to tell people if I was going to fake stuff, I would have shit flying through the air, hitting people in the head. I wouldn't be messing around with some obscure photo. I'd be like, "Wow, look at this!" Like. I got slimed, like, stuff like that. But man,
well, I have a picture of a UFO gray for Army vet.
Oh, good, yeah, because Army vet's asking too. That's why I put it up there. They wanted Joe to put them up if you got one.
Well, this is Tom DeLonge. I mean, this is a unique one.
From Tom DeLonge?
Yeah, I believe that's the guy who took the picture.
Yeah, I know who he is. I just that's interesting.
Yeah, I want a Bigfoot, man. I want to see a Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
Here we go.
Hi, Kat. I was talking to Kat. I told her I'll get back to you right after I'm off air. So I sent her the link to watch. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So it's a pretty good picture. You can see the typical head, but there are 4 fingers and 1 thumb. You can't tell with the other hand because it's against his chest, but allegedly these things were terrorizing their home, I think, somewhere in the 70s, and they like chased them away with shotguns. Is that, I don't know if that's the same story.
Wow.
What would you do? What would your first reaction be if you saw this outside your house? I see a lot of stuff outside my house.
I would grab my shotgun. I literally, Michael, would put my.
I think I'd just say shotgun. Nope and let my dog at it.
My first reaction would be, I got to capture this to show people. Like, I got to capture this dude. I got to go out there and tackle him and capture his little ass.
And then you're going to make sure you got a specimen, right, Michael? So you can bring it out.
I hear Grays prefer not Doberman pinches, but them German Shepherd dogs.
I got gorilla tape, man. I would tie that
Nice
thing up
little
and
snack for them.
They said they taste really good.
I would call Joe
They're
Montana.
not
German
being such my
sausage.
I'd
dog.
say, Joe, I just captured an alien in my backyard. And Joe would be like, you got to put him on ice. Like, he would have all these, like, separate instructions.
Stick him in your freezer, buddy. Stick him in your freezer until we get there. Freeze
Maybe
that ass up.
Put him on ice.
That'd be like the burrito alien. The guy rolled him up, killed him, then rolled him up into a rug and stuck him in a freezer and froze him. Looked like a burrito when he took him
We
out.
should put, like, instructions out there if you do capture an alien. Like,
Actually, you know what? iCry actually does have real lot of instructions for that. They really did.
Have you
What
guys
to-
ever
what to
seen
do
the
if you make
video of the
contact?
interviewed gray alien? It's pretty. It's a pretty unique video. I'm gonna see if I can find that. But
Is that the
Oh,
old?
it looks very similar to this. He looks very similar to this, but in a different. His skin's a different color. Let me find that. I'll stop this one.
Yes.
Kat said get him some clothes.
Yeah, I saw
I have
that.
a cool UFO. Want to hear my UFO story, man?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my last house, my nice house that I can't live in anymore. So I had, you guys know what view I had. You see the photos I posted, like the sunset, whatever. I had a good, probably as far as I can see. Let's just say north, south, and then also west. So one night, in fact, in the living room, we had a huge window. I didn't even want a TV in that room because it ruined the view. I wanted the room just dedicated to the view. So one night, about 11 something at night, I'm sitting there and I see this star, like, moving up there. Really, and like it like normally see an airplane or whatever, it doesn't really grab your eye. This thing grabbed my eye, and I'm looking at it, and it's cruising like fast, man. And it was moving smoothly through the air. That's what I remember. It was really beautiful, brilliant colors, moving smoothly through the air. All of a sudden, there's an airplane coming, two of them from the south, real fast moving, like markers, like flashing, like some military craft. You know what I mean? Type of thing. Two of them coming from the south. Another one starts coming from the north, and they're all headed towards this star type of thing. Then the star zips freaking off, all goes north, zip, just like that. It was gone. Then two of the airplanes, like the two airplanes that showed up, one left and one remained, and he flew around for about 25, 30 minutes. And then the other one up north also turned around and went. That was some interesting stuff.
I have lots of weird videos that I catch from the sky. I don't know if they're UFOs or what they are, but they're weird. They're not regular planes.
It was weird. It gave me a weird feeling, And with the area where they converged, that's where 5 ley lines intercross, above Seneca Lake over there.
Oh, wow.
Between Seneca and Lake Canandaigua. So that, and on top,
I'm not believing these ley lines.
but on top of that, the Navy. I'm not saying this is interrelated, but the Navy has a sub base in that lake, in Seneca Lake, and then they test sonar, and that's where that energy beam was at that
trying to
time.
kill the dolphins.
They stored the Manhattan Project stuff there, and there's a whole history. There's a history of what happened there. But I'm just saying,
getting back to these ley lines, man.
ley lines intercross right there.
Have you ever got laid on the ley line, man?
Okay, I have a video.
I'm not believing these are ley lines, man. I never got laid on no damn ley line. Sean, you ever got laid on a ley line?
Never did.
Oh, well, see.
Not
I
purposefully
mean,
in my arena either. That I know.
I'm just saying,
ley
man.
lines
So
are
why we
there.
call them ley lines, man? It's just some bullshit.
They're there and they don't
That is some
change.
bullshit.
You know what I mean? And
I'm
that could be
protesting.
guidance. That could be
Fucking
guidance for any type
bullshit.
of system.
What was the big question, Joe?
Have you gotten laid on a ley line?
No, I've never been to Hawaii.
I'm just gonna let that go.
Okay, so
Anyway.
you guys were talking about the Greys. There was a documentary of this guy making all the talks. The independent journalist will say it was called "Hunting Victor," and it was about he was searching for the answers behind supposedly that leaked footage from, they said, Area 51 where the alien died on camera. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Yeah, it came.
I think I have seen that, but I have the Skinny
He was
Bob
on Joe
video.
Rogan, I think. That's where I'd seen it, so I bought it. It's that impressive. But sorry, go ahead, Jay.
So I know the one you're talking about. Now, this is This is Skinny Bob. It's a 2011 leak from the KGB, allegedly.
I think we're talking about the same thing. If you play it, I'll be able to tell you if it
Okay,
is.
all right. Let me widen it out, and then hold on to your potatoes.
Doing, big cat. You said fucking train.
KGB badge right there. I have it on my watch.
What are you doing? Man? What are you doing, Pete?
That's the craft he comes in.
Okay. I heard of Skinny Bob, that's for sure.
No, what do you see him? He is not skinny. And what's left of him is on Joe's shelf behind him.
That's right.
I don't think this is the one I'm talking about. Nope.
Oh, just wait. This is alleged crash footage.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. This was just in 2011. Wow.
Well, I don't know when the film was taken. This is when it was released.
Okay.
Well, they're videotaped, so these must have been. So they're recorded between 42 and 69. Wow.
I was gonna say it looks like old footage, but okay.
Actually, we still got a little while. We'll talk a little bit about the Democrats in a little while. It's
Oh, here we go. In just a few seconds, here he comes, Skinny Bob. There he is.
Okay, I've seen this clip before, but he is skinny. He's just got a big head.
He's got a huge head. If it's a puppet, it is the most elaborate Muppet you've ever seen. This is better than Yoda.
I think it's real.
I think it's real. Look at those hands.
What happened to him, Jay?
I believe this is EVE-1, one of the ones retrieved at Roswell, and I believe it died in 1957-58 of a common cold or flu virus.
Oh, go back about 10 seconds when he's twitching his eyes. I want to show you something.
Joe's gonna debunk it.
It's already been debunked. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
So he's got eyelashes.
You go what, Joe? I didn't hear you, bud.
He's got eyelashes, and he's got and.
Well, I don't think it's an eyelash. I think that's a shadow.
No, this up here is an eyelash. Let me show you right here.
It doesn't look like one.
Yeah, right here. This is. You can tell the way too, because there's another one over here too. So they're just. It's, I mean, they may have eyelashes for the same reason we have. To catch stuff falling off your bald ass head. Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. But I think I have the one that you were talking about with the one that died.
Yeah, and this guy, I think he ran for the Senate, and he was doing all the bigger talk shows. This was about 6 months ago, and he's got quite a story. The feds came after him. A lot of his stuff was missing. Anyways, he put out this documentary. You had to pay like $8 or something for it. So I did. Actually, I don't usually, but I did. I wanted to see what he had to say. I didn't think he really answered anything.
Before we go on real quick about grays, and you can look at that video because it might do this, but so when a gray has eyelids like we do, they don't move the way ours do. They don't come from the same direction. I can't say any more than that because it's really considered.
So what do they blink like this instead
I can't. It's still abduction criteria, but they blink differently than we do. Is all I can tell you. So if you ever see one, you'll fucking know. Trust me, because it will flip you out when you see it.
So then they gotta blink like this. Their eyelids close like this.
Maybe it goes like this.
That's my theory.
I don't know. Maybe it starts from here and goes this way.
Okay.
Or maybe
so I had the wrong direction, but I get this vision.
No, it could start from here.
It doesn't blink like this. It's like
it could blink upwards.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's something else entirely. Maybe it's a little gray. You know what it could be? It could just be their black patch that comes out over their eyes.
They allegedly have a large contact lens, which is black, which works like either a computer AI interface and also a heads-up display, like a kind of like a cell phone screen. But
I don't feel like it's genuine, man.
It's funny when you look at pictures of the Greys prior to the turn of prior to Christ. They don't have big black eyes. They have eyes, and they are bigger eyes than ours by far. And the eyes themselves are dark, but they're only about this big around.
How you know something like a spacesuit? Like they're wearing some kind of spacesuit.
Sorry, Michael. Go ahead. Sorry.
Like
Well, the
the
Greys,
spacesuit.
they probably have one of those things that you just hit, it just clings to your body. I would imagine, unless they have some other way of regulating the temperatures on their body, because we don't exactly know how their body functions work. So we know the Greys don't have bones; they got cartilage or something like cartilage. So then they move the way they move their arms and their knees and stuff. It can't be bone because it would just snap it. So we know that's not what's in there. And the way they move their heads and all, we know that that's not bones there. That's some type of cartilage. So that's kind of interesting stuff. That also says a different kind of evolution.
Like the way that an owl can turn its head 270 degrees. It can't go all the way around, but it's got such cartilage in its neck that it can rotate almost all the way. But they're Greys. It bends where it shouldn't bend.
It's just weird. I mean, when you see and plus the way that they can move, so. It doesn't matter how they're walking. They can walk like straight up and down here, or they can be at the ceiling, walk straight. They can walk on the wall. So somehow or another, they defy gravity.
What the level
or they're just so powerful that their body holds like that when they're walking.
Well, we talked about this. That's the level of technology, though. That they are unaffected by stuff at the the galactic level. So like gravity and micro.
They do like.
Yeah, but what if they're so evolved with their consciousness, because our brains and our thought patterns are energy, and they're some of the most powerful things. Okay, so what if they've just been taught since whenever they were born, however they come to be, that they're limitless, so they believe it, so it is, right? And they're not built the same way as we are. So yeah, they could, if they believe they could walk across ceiling, they could walk through walls. They could, because if they
like to crawl on ceiling. They like cockroaches sometimes. So if you have ever watched Stephen King's Taken, the TV series, it's a 10-part series. There's a lot of bullshit in that series, but there are a lot of truths in that series that's paying down in research. So whoever was helping Spielberg with the series honestly had either knew a researcher, a good researcher. I would have to think somebody out of our organization, or he was in touch with a contactee, a good one, a keeper or something along those lines. Because there's information like retrievals. Until that movie came out, nobody even talked about. I mean, we did, but we still kept it kind of secret. But when you would be taken by the Men in Black, or whatever you want to call them, and the Greys would come retrieve you. Well, the Greys didn't tend to leave anybody alive behind them. So it showed you right there.
Why do you think they evolved from what we originally saw to what we're now picturing as what we might think as a Grey?
No, the Greys, they've been around 1 billion years, so there's no telling.
Yeah, but you said they look different now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, because they have, like us, they've evolved.
They were altered by the light, the beings of light. But I also think
they were like that. Is true. They were after the war. When the war ended, however long after the light beings came here, ended the war, they used the Greys as like the galactic policemen. They modified them and made them like the most advanced thing in the known universe besides the light beings themselves.
Yeah, and what they looked like before is probably like us, or similar-ish.
Yeah, I would say like in a magnitude of our technology.
The 4 aliens that have allegedly tweaked our DNA. But we only have 3 different types of animal brain. We have an insect, a primate, and reptilian aspects in our brain. So that means one or more of them had to have been parallel primate-style brain activity. So that means it has to be the Greys and the Anunnaki. It had to have been on a parallel world. These 2 different species had to have evolved and exactly parallel to our own species, so that we're compatible. Otherwise, it would be like trying to mate, a Persian cat with a Chow Chow dog. It's never
or
gonna happen.
Just really, really advanced technology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to light beams, I don't think anything. The way the real story goes, and I've heard this story, I don't know, from 1,800 contactees over the last 40 years. They talk about this in great detail. They talk about the Greys. The Greys will tell you that the light beams came here from another galaxy. A galaxy that was dying. It was a dead galaxy. There's nothing anybody could do for it. It was just by age, it was on its way out. And they came to this one and found this one ablaze in war. The whole fucking galaxy, at least all the advanced races, were at war.
Or at least this section of the galaxy.
No, they.
So when was the war, Joe? Because what we've been talking about tonight was there this like the 5th or 6th go around.
The war has probably been over. Yeah. See, it's weird for us because, okay. because of two of the species that interbred with us have genetic DNA. We hold that DNA inside of us, but it's, I mean, not DNA, memories. Those memories are not actually our memories.
Genetic memory.
Their memories. So you, from advanced races that have been fighting wars for millions of years, we feel that, we sense that, but that's not ours. It didn't affect us. It didn't come here. It never was part of this world. That's not what went on. There's no battle scores on our planet. There's none of that around. No, there's a couple of asteroids that you can tell what they are, but there's no like.
Well, the planet is clearly knocked off its axis. There's huge battle scars on Mars.
Yeah,
it has no atmosphere.
But no, but you don't know. That's not. I don't even think Mars is actual battle scars. I think, unfortunately, this section of this solar system and this section of this galaxy got fucked.
Battle with another space body.
No, whatever. So this is what really happened here. Whatever happened to the fifth planet is what happened to us, to Venus, and to Mars. Yeah. That was the primary cause for all three of us. We know that's where Mars's moons come from, is that asteroid belt. Yeah. So we know that's the primary causes of the damage to all three planets. We just don't know what the cause was, the damage of it. At first they said, oh no, it was never a planet. But then they started finding stuff that can only be formed inside of a pressure, inside from the planets. So then they realized, oh wait, maybe it was a planet, but then it was a planet 5 times the size of Earth.
Yeah,
which is what Nibiru was, 5 times the size of Earth, kind of coincidentally. So maybe the reason they don't see Nibiru anymore is maybe somewhere along the line they got sucked in between Mars and Jupiter and turned to fucking dust. And when it was turned to dust, it literally kicked all three of our asses. As far as we know, the humans, the reptilians, the Greys, and the reptilians, humans, and the Greys could all come from this solar system. Well, we have three planets inside the habitable zone that were all at one time very inhabitable and then got destroyed. So we don't even know. We start talking about they're distant, they're coming from here, they're coming from there, but we don't actually know that. All we know is the Greys are very, very advanced, and we know that the human aliens and reptilian aliens are scared of the Greys. They're just scared of them. They're scared what the Greys could do to them. So they'll look down, they'll look to the side, and respect. Even the alpha reptilian will look down and to the right or the left, whichever way the Gray is going, away from the Gray. A little 3-footer. So that tells you something right there, how powerful that little shithole of a little gray alien is.
Well, if you go by the Stargate model, in the TV show, those same gray aliens were the most powerful being in the universe at that point.
Yes. So then that's the real problem. So, but according to the light beings and all the contactees who have visited the council world say the same thing. The light beings came here. They found a place ablaze. They took the Greys, which they found way on the other side of our galaxy, turned them into a super advanced race, and sent them out to end the war.
So here's something I'm going to blow your mind. And people, star people, angels, all the same thing. They're these Greys. And they came down and they gave people, okay, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you this. But they can't communicate, right? It's telepathically. It's a thought. They put the thought in there and whatever. But do you think like Nikola Tesla had that thought? Do you think that Einstein had those connections, you know what I mean, to come up with all these amazing things?
Maybe not.
Tesla did, yeah. I don't know about Einstein, but Tesla for sure.
Well, what about Elon Musk and PayPal? I think that was pretty goddamn amazing, man. You know what I mean? That's extraterrestrial. That's extra testicle, as a matter of fact.
What about Gene Roddenberry?
What about Gene?
Say the name, Sean, so don't get mad. Well, I just said he had to have channeled something to be able to write it.
Yeah, sex, because Captain Kirk boinked his way through the universe. Everything is sex. Everything with humans is sex. Everything with animals is sex, and that's as simple as people are. And if people could understand that about themselves, then they wouldn't be so depressed about trying to be something more than what they really are.
He had some interesting technology that we're now creating.
But you're right, Laura Lee. He had a vision of the future that we're coming across now. In the first season of the show, I haven't said it yet. The Enterprise is controlled by a group that's a vaguely disguised NASA extension called the United Earth Space Program, United Earth Space Probe Agency. And that controls the starship. Second season, Gene is stuck trying to write for the show, and he he's allegedly visited by men in black, members of the group of the Council of the Nine, that tell him, "We love your show. You're pretty close, but here's how it is." And they tell him about a Galactic Federation, which then he writes into the script in the second series.
I love
Now the Enterprise is
right,
controlled by the United Federation of Planets, which is like the Galactic Federation. He was told by the Men in Black.
The name of what show, Cat?
Hey, Cat would like to know what.
Oh, we can't see the
Cat
name
wants to
because
know
we
what's
owe
the name of the
$5 to the swear jar. Because Sean,
Yes, that's right. Can't say the
Sean
name.
doesn't like when we bring this up.
Hey, that's still $5.
Boy,
We can see
you're
the
at-
name. Man.
You
I've
got
already
$5
got
tonight,
Sean.
Lord. You're at $30 right now. You're at
I
$30
am.
Oh
right now.
man, she's gonna have to get a loan at the rate this is going.
When you come move
It's,
up to Thunder Bay, I'll take you out. We'll have a good time.
Final frontier.
Anyway,
All right,
Hey,
that's like $100 for you. buddy.
yeah, that's like 200. I'm thinking, man. One because
Its 5-year mission
200.
to explore strange new worlds,
since it's in video, I say it should be
new
100 per second.
civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone
You
before.
haven't brought up the alien baby.
Anyway, hey, besides this is copyright. Turn your shit off. We
$5, Joe. $5, Joe.
There he is, Gene Roddenberry. Thank you.
There he is. They say Steve Jobs also channeled info about the Apple phone too. I don't know if that's
No.
And then it's live long and prosper.
Me too.
I like the ending. Wait. The ending is bad.
Yeah.
Look at this. We got
Good one.
Reptilian.
Boy, those monsters were bad.
Got a little city on
Great
space.
episode.
Joe Montaldo's casino.
don't get our asses thrown off of YouTube. This is the kind of shit they throw your ass
Oh,
off
I
for.
want you to see the guy at the end, man. He used to give me freaking nightmares. Where's the dude at the end? He used to give me nightmares. Nobody cares about
Michael,
this.
your finds are getting dimensionally huger.
1966, that dude right there. Holy shit, look at it.
Haylock.
Yeah, that face.
Yeah, my son used to be scared of the crypt keeper.
Mhm.
It's oh wait, we got a
But I've
couple
never
news things we got to
why
get
do
at.
you hate this so much?
It's still ball.
Why does Sean hate it so much?
Jay?
It's just a thing with Jay and Sean because Jay's kind of
I just know too
Jay's
much.
kind of gay on Star Trek, and Sean's kind of not.
Well, I think Jay and we had a half hour to talk before the show, and I think I both realized that I'm kind of a nerd. I like all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
that show is
because I
good.
know we got to be giving up the airtime here to Michael pretty soon. So we
Yeah,
got a couple-
Michael's coming on. Mike, what's
Yeah,
on your show? What's on your show
Well,
tonight?
he ain't
Mike?
coming on quite yet, though. We still got to knock out a couple news things.
Scantily clad, beautiful women. That was Star Trek to me.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
that was Star Trek.
He was
That was
horny
Star
like
Trek to everybody, every
I
guy
identified
under the
with
age
it.
of 50.
All right,
Yeah.
Joe, you're at $10 right now.
Everybody. I didn't say the ST word.
that
I said
R2?
Yeah, you do.
I left I left the K and the T off, man. See,
I got
pay
a few of
attention.
them.
I cheat. It's but
I have a
anyway.
mold for those, Jay.
Somebody should show
They
the
hand
crap they
paint
have on
them. They
their
look
desk.
like R2 when
Here,
you're done.
man.
These are the same kind
Oh,
of
Michael's
drugs.
pulling them out. That's cute, Michael.
There's a
Yeah.
squishy.
Look, you wind him up and he boogies around.
That's cool.
This is how Jay got pregnant with one of them.
You know
little
who
things
gave me
Michael
this
got.
was
The alien
these
probe
ghost
has resolved
hunters.
itself. This is the
Ghost
result.
Hunters, Saint
Blue
Augustine
on one
Ghost
end,
Hunters.
pink on the other.
He looks like the alien off of Legends, the one that Matt when he got that
I
alien
made
pregnant.
this today, and I'm quite proud of myself because I did my
Oh,
first
that's
wiring
pretty.
job. So the
That's pretty
crystal
cool.
ball lights up and
That's
everything.
pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Anybody want a drink?
Magic shop. Mhm.
That's
I
really
don't know
cool.
how to wire, but I followed the instructions.
Okay, I knew I had a bunch of weird co-hosts. I know. Anyway, we're gonna do some real news before we leave. Oh my god! So I've been watching it. Well, the Pope can what? No, I don't want to offend any of my Catholic friends off, but I don't care about the Pope. It's so we all know Trump was over there working deals and making money, but so he comes home to new poll ratings, right? So what do you think the millennials are saying about it?
I think they like him.
Oh, do they like him? they all were giving the man a blowjob. I mean, Lord have mercy. And I'm thinking some of them might go ahead and do that if they get a chance. It's
because all their electronics are no longer stalled in the container trucks outside of the harbors now. Their video games are being brought back into the country.
They can't afford to eat Tide Pods anymore. They're too expensive. That's why they're pissed off.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing. The youth, the Z-Geners and the millennials really like Trump. They came out in big numbers to vote for him, and they like him, and they're liking him more and more every day. You want to know why? Because after 10 or 12 years of no real men running anything and Trump not getting a chance in his first time around, we had Obama, then Biden. I mean, basically we had Laura Lee, close your ears, pussies running the country.
Yeah.
So it's
gonna hang with the boys. You can't act
Well,
like
pussies, part pussy, part wimp.
Well, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter to me. It's just, and the world, even worse than that, the world got used to that. Oh, well, America will just do whatever. No, fuck you, we won't do whatever. But anyway, their numbers are going deal. So the other day, Trump's leaving, he's leaving Middle East, coming home, saying, okay, Iran, this is the deal. Take it or leave it. Well, guess what? Iran's taking the deal.
Oh, good.
So now he's gonna have peace with Iran. He talked with Hezbollah. Hezbollah's ready to stop killing shit. He's going to have to go bitch slap Netanyahu because Netanyahu got a hard on for blowing shit up now. He's like Obama. Once he's a guy, once you get used to blowing shit up, you want to keep blowing shit up. And so he's like, and I understand his point of view and the fact that first off, you motherfuckers, you started this by killing babies and stepping on their heads and killing teenagers in a harmless park. He said, so you started it. And, this has been going on in our country. What is there, 75 years old now? The two state doesn't work. Somebody's got to go. Well, Israel controls the majority of the land. It's their state. Palestine, move the fuck into Egypt or something. Maybe Saudi will adopt your ass or some shit. And if you weren't always trying to blow somebody up, they would have left you alone.
Yeah.
Think about it. If Hezbollah wouldn't have run around because Israel wasn't going over to kill, they wasn't even inside Palestine anymore.
The only time the Israelis ever expressed any aggression is when they've been attacked. They've been attacked by Egypt and Syria and Iran, and name a country in there they've been attacked by them at least once.
Well, they have treaties with Egypt and Saudi Arabia now, thanks to Trump.
They do now, but I mean, there was
that's thanks to Trump.
7 Days War, or whatever. I mean, there's been conflict there.
7-day war where they took over 80% of the Middle East. They should have just fucking kept it. Yeah. It's I don't know how they would have held on to it, but still. But I mean, so anyway, Iran's ready to sign. There's several articles out there you can go read, ladies and gentlemen, about they're ready to put their little inky on the dotted line. And then his poll numbers have just been, I really thought, I knew he was going to take some dips here and there because the economy, but I don't know. And now, so I love watching the big news networks. They're like, okay, well, it's inflation. It's just because the tariffs haven't hit because it's 2 months in a row. The inflation's been good, going down. Because in April they said, "Oh well, don't worry. In May it'll be up." Well, this is May 17th, and guess what? It's going down. Cost of food's going down. Cost of everything's going down. And then the emperor gets on the news today and says, "Walmart, fuck you. Eat the tariffs." He said, "I am watching you. Eat the tariffs. I'm watching you. Your customers watching you." Then he has the White House put out their profit margin 23 to 27%. Well, guess what, Walmart? I'm with him. Eat fucking 7%. We don't have to go up. You shouldn't be making more than 15% on us. All the fucking stores you own. Jesus Christ. It's 15%. You know how much money they're making at 25? Well, I mean, come on. They're just being greedy at that point. It's so I'm glad to see the president stand up and say, hey, knock it off. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much told Xi Jinping, this is how it's going to be. You want to play the nasty, we'll kick your ass, and then you'll just get thrown out, and somebody else will take over in China. And then I was doing a thing. I wanted to see what the chances of China ever losing its communist government. So before NPR got thrown out of China, they had done a poll. Probably about 65%, maybe even more of the Chinese people would be ready to be in a democracy. But of course, how do you get that done when 200 or 300 people control all the military in China? Mm-hmm. I don't know. But getting back to the regular news, so millennials, thumbs up, came out hardcore for the president. Said he likes everything he's doing. They only gave him a 40% rating in the economy, but that's before the numbers came out. So that'll go up some. As far as everything else, he's up anywhere from 58% to 70 or 80%. I don't know. Guess what that guy, the Democrat, said? How's it feel to be losing? You know what, Mr. Democrat? I hate to tell you this, but I think they're winning, and I think they're winning a lot.
So the bigger question here is Trump the Antichrist? That's the big question on everyone's mind. You know what I mean?
He's not the Antichrist.
Solving all the wars, solving all the problems, got shot and lived, and all kinds. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some stuff there.
Yeah, they said that about Reagan when he got shot and lived too.
He got shot in any vital organ.
I'm worried about how he looks. He looks like he's not feeling well. Like
Some days he does. Some days he looks haggard.
Yeah,
He's
he does.
old.
Well, I figure in his mind, he figures this is it. This 4 years, I'm gonna give everything I got. I'll die when it's.
And he has. He has.
Yeah,
Which
he's
is
been
wrong.
working hard.
And you know
He
what?
looks
And
like he's weight, for sure.
if he comes out and he does everything he says he does, and this country's way better off, and then he dies, he'll be a fucking idiot.
Elon's son is Damien Ullman, and Ullman is controlling the Trump. You know what I mean? And when he doesn't need him anymore, they're gonna bump him off, man.
You're gonna have a weird
let
accident.
Let him go back into obscurity.
No, they for some reason they ain't been letting a little shit around lately. I haven't.
Oh, here we go.
I think he's been staying with his mama.
He's got his own cabinet position now.
I don't know about that, Kurt.
No.
That's the
first
I think he's got too big of an ego to be a puppet, my friend.
Yeah.
It's,
that's the first time I've ever noticed. Like he looked. I just seen a video of him today, and he looks like he's lost weight, and he looks exhausted.
He does.
I was worried about seeing how he looked.
Look at the trip he just took. I would be tired.
Well, I'm hoping he gets to rest though, because he looks like he's really run ragged.
I think he's pushing himself a little too hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Have you noticed that his sons have not been in the news?
What's that?
His sons.
Yeah, they haven't been much. No.
No, not as much as he was in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
First time he was in.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, man. This is my feeling in my bones. There's something coming that is going to be gigantic, and it's good that there's somebody actually in office that can think their way out of something. But there's something coming, and it's going to be soon, and it's going to be gigantic, and and people aren't going to be able to wrap their minds around.
Well, it's Catherine Fitz. I forget her last name. But
Oh, we got another doomsdayer in here, man.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Not you.
Well, I
Rob.
was just going to say, though, released that the people with the money do have a city built underneath the ground. I downloaded the video today.
Oh, there's several of those built under the ground, but who wants to live in a city underground? Fuck that.
Well, if the
Well,
world
if
is
the air's
wiped out,
radioactive, you might not have any choice.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, my choice is I'm going to live underground for $15,000. Yeah, fuck that idea. I'd rather be dead.
Yeah, I
But,
would.
why not just go to Mars and live with Elon?
Yes.
At least you'll still be able to see the sky at night.
Mm-hmm.
Here, if you got and see the sky at night, you would be roasted to like a little red roasted
Gotta look
potato.
at the series Paradise. That's what it sounds like, and it reminds me of. So something big is coming, and they know they got a place built already underneath the earth for the people that got money. That's the only people getting in there. You and I aren't getting in there. Anybody else?
That just puts them closer to Satan, baby. That's all.
That's true. That's a good way to think of it.
There are
Jeff.
certain already underground ancient structures that were probably built for the same reasons the rich people built theirs.
Don't you remember that article I put up a couple weeks ago about that woman who worked for the Bush administration, and then she was the assistant to the cabinet member, in charge of that thing, and they put trillions into an underground facility.
That's Catherine Fitz. I forget what her other. She's got a double name, but that's we're talking about the same person, Michael.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what she described as what she swore that's what went on, and I believe it.
I do too.
Of course they're going to do. Of course they're going to protect themselves. They don't give a shit. They need people to work, but now they got robots, so they don't need regular old people.
Well, I'm sure they're taking some regular people because they're not going to want to be cooking for themselves. So they brought whatever servants they can salvage.
You got robots. 16,000. 16,000 for that Chinese robot. 16 grand. Think about the concept.
Look at the Georgia Guidestones that got blown up a couple of years ago. They said what the population of the world was going to be. Just enough to serve the people that had the money.
All right.
Europe is in a no-win scenario. There's too many people. There's billions and billions. At some point, the fresh water and the food's going to run out, and then what?
Not for a while, though.
You know,
the planet can easily sustain about 25 billion. So
the planet, but not humans.
Yeah,
You know,
humans can. Yeah, you can. Look, think about this, Mike. You're not even thinking. You know, so look how big America is. You've got 350 million people in this country, maybe taking up 5% of the space. Maybe. If you look at South America, there's 2 billion people down here, maybe taking up 4% of the space. So all the rest of that space you have to expand with or grow gardens or do whatever the hell you want.
population is growing out of control.
Not
Billions and billions, man.
Still
I mean,
haven't
it's
used
going-
all in oceans too yet.
So they've already proved the planet it can easily handle 25 billion people. That's not the issue. The issue is, you know, what are you going to do with 25 billion people? What are they going to do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to feed themselves? Is everybody going to be on assisted
food,
living?
water, especially if the fresh water is depleting. There's a lot of issues there, man. You know,
Well, fresh water can be, you can recycle water, so that's not that big of a deal. But it's
you want to throw in urine, go right ahead.
and then of course Elon's going to want you to come stay with him.
Documents related to the Penn Biden Center.
I'll be wrong.
The hell?
Where did
What the
you
hell
keep
is this?
papers that related to those
I'll be
things? that you
long
were
gone
asking
and
for?
home.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is that Joe Biden interview. They said that he didn't know what he was doing. Listen.
Now they're
Oh,
all
yeah, I
thinking
saw
that
that
Biden
too.
was
Yeah.
I don't know.
whatever he's got.
This is what,
They're all
Oh.
17, 18.
So this is when he was talking to the agent, right?
Remember,
Yeah,
in this
I
time
saw this today. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
My
and they
son
covered it up, man.
is
Which is a scam.
unemployed or is dying.
Then they compared it
this
to
is
an
bad.
earlier
He couldn't
interview.
even remember when his son died.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you're right.
it was, and by the
It's
way,
just
there was
sad.
still
They
a lot
should
of
never
people
have done that to him.
when I got out of the Senate that
It's
were
sad, man.
That's
It's
I
really
just said it's
encouraging
sad.
me.
Yeah.
to run in this
I didn't
period,
like the guy, but
except the
the
president.
decay of his mind is so
I'm
sad
not
that
being-
they had him out there. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That was wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
So
It
this
was.
is the other problem before we go, because we got to get Mike up here in a couple minutes. But it's one of the things that's bothered me about this, and I noticed that even the big media, some of the media is slightly turning on the Dems. Even some of the Dems are turning on the Dems, and so they're trying to walk past the fact that they let this go on with Biden, but everybody's holding their feet to the fire. I was watching NBC today, and you know how much NBC loves to suck some Democrat dick. And they were like, no. They would tag teaming a couple of Democrats. Like, no, There's no way you didn't know about it. And they had, what's his name, Jeffries on there going, oh, no, you knew about this. You're a senior Democrat. Why didn't you do anything about this? Why didn't you say anything about this?
They actually did that. I cannot believe it.
And so they're coming down on him. Plus, right now, the most popular Democrat amongst the Democrats is AOC. But yet her district is talking about firing her ass.
I don't think I'd be sad about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean. Is it you that likes her? There's one of you guys that likes her.
No, I don't like her.
No, he likes Kamala.
Kamala.
AOC is
Caramella. That's what Sean calls her.
Joe had a
Caramella.
conversation about Kamala the other day, so she's on my shit list. So
Her new name is Caramella.
You're not camel toe.
You know, I need to find. There's two people I want to get on this show, not on this show, but on News on the Flip Side. Is the Sky News girl, the black-headed chick that does Lefties Losing It.
She's hot. She's hot.
And I want to call her Condoleezza Rice. I wish I could get Condoleezza Rice.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? You know, Candace. Candace.
Candace Owens.
Yeah, and those
She's
two I'd
on
love to
that.
get on this show.
No, she's got Ian Carroll filling in for her right now.
So I'd like to get them two on, and then maybe we could talk to the princess or the wannabe
Princess Meghan Markle.
Yeah, let's get Megan
Oh
on here.
no! I'm
Well,
going.
let's bring Megan on the chat. Let's bring Megan on the chat. She'd be crying after just 5 minutes, man. She would be. Harry be putting hit squads on our asses.
We get banned right off of all the streaming networks if we did that.
You know what? The SAS will be on our front porch that next day.
Say, no, we'll be like Miss. What's her last name? What's the fuck? I forgot.
Markle, but just call her royal.
No, what's his last name? What's Henry's last name?
Oh, Harry. Harry's last name.
Harry, yeah.
The Windsors. The Windsors.
Yeah, okay. So that's really what her last name is, Windsor, because she married his ass. So, say Miss Windsor, how does it be to be a princess? Or were you always a princess? Your dad said you was a lying, cheating slut, but
Oh, I would pay money to see that, Joe, if you said that to her.
But and then I would say, but that's not what I think. I think you're very fat chick, and we need to talk about that. No, I'm sorry.
You're so demon along with Amber Turd.
Her and Turd probably get together and cry in the bathroom.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry the Cuck, both of them, right?
Yes.
Both
and I am burning all my dead shirts out at camp this summer. I have no use for
deserve each other. And then here's a situation where a guy was manipulated by a controlling psychopath narcissist, and then
we call that pussy whipped, right?
Yeah, he's on the leash. She did the classic stuff, separated him from his family, alienated him, had total control over all of his friends, left his life behind. Hers is a new life. She has those 2 anchor babies, man. So she got the American dream by marrying a prince, right? And she's the Barbie of Hollywood, and she's like, look at her trying to sell those jellies and shit like that.
Nobody's buying it. Plus, the other thing is,
look at the
King
small
Charles
mentality.
is supposed to be so sick. So
But
why is he
small,
coming to Canada?
I mean, small mentality, jellies and jams. You're a goddamn princess, and you're thinking I'm going to sell jellies and jams.
Nobody's buying them.
But he fell for it. He fell for it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, King Charles is supposed to be so ill, yet he's
gonna die.
Lying here to
remember. Do you remember, you guys, where I said that when he was going to be named king, he'll be dead within 3 years.
So
I'm not done. No, he's supposed to be coming here to Canada.
You laughed because you thought I was like, that's pretty much what's going to happen. And then here we are. And the guy's dying of cancer. So
yes, and he is supposed to be going to Canada, and he said that he's not gonna take chemo.
Nope.
So this guy may be dead in a few months.
Chemo doesn't work on reptilians.
I mean, I don't think Harry's. I think he's a nasty bastard. I see what he says about people in the U.S. and whatever, and he's just an asshole. Nobody wants him. Nobody needs him.
I would bet you money if
him, you know what, they're just out of touch with anything and anything. They're just rich people who are living in rich people's lives, and she's trying to.
I don't think Kate's out of touch.
She's out there in the public trying to make herself look good all the time, and every time she does, it makes her look bad. She has a very, very people
because
don't like
she hasn't learned. You can't because if you just go through life and doing it, people will look like you better, like Kate does. You just can't
look
force
at Diana. In the beginning, Diana, she did her thing and she went with the AIDS babies and whatever. Then, she got divorced and became a huge slut. She's kicking her legs up for everybody. Well, and you saw what the outcome was, and especially the dude that looks like Harry. That, and there's a lot of people that say that Charles isn't his father, but one hand I would think the church, the king would come out with that saying, yeah, he's not my son. On the other hand, he would be too embarrassed to even admit something like that. But
I don't think it's going to matter because pretty soon the guy's going to die,
just like
and his brother's going to ban him from the UK.
That's what I was saying because she's been running around using her Royal Highness, and she's
they're gonna strip him of any royalties, and they're gonna ban him from the UK. So you're not allowed in this country anymore.
Yep.
That might be his dad's final last wish if they don't reconcile whatever differences they got. But anyway, we got to get out of here because I know Mike's get his ass moving.
Good night, everybody.
I want to throw this picture up, man, and I want people to decide for themselves because this is. Let me put this up on our way out. There we go. This dude right there, man. Can't see it. Where is it? There it is. This guy, man. I mean, come on. You know, Harry.
Oh, I know. I love this. I love this. This made every time I see this picture, I'm like, oh, she was getting a little side monkey on a horsey, but hey, yeah.
They've got the same nose, the same face, the same hair pattern. Look at these two. Look at them, man. Come on.
Look at Justin Trudeau, who his real daddy is.
Yeah, baby. That's another one looks just like his daddy.
Yeah, but Diana had a relationship with this dude, and they were together for a long time. So, but they're saying that they weren't together, together when Harry was born, but they were around each other. And I don't know, man. There's a whole thing. There's a whole thing there. But why? But the same thing, right? We can get into Michelle Obama, and then a lot of people say that her kids aren't her kids because she's not what she appears to be. So
I agree.
But they put pictures out there of the real parents, and then they're connected with the kids to this day. So there's stuff going on, and Michelle and Obama having trouble. They're talking about divorce. There's a lot of people talking about that.
He just said yesterday that is his apple in his eye, or whatever he called her. That's how much. No, the rumors are so bad. Yeah, it's fucking Sean. But the rumors have gotten so bad that both Obamas have had to step out and say that their marriage is okay in the last week. And I mean, that's a lot of rumors. I think the country just wants to see him split.
Yeah, I
hope he'll come out. Excuse me, say all kind of stuff about it.
Food porn.
We out of here.
Okay. All right, Mike. Have a good show.
I'm going to show you this picture real quick. You guys,
Michael has an alien.
You make up your mind.
Oh God, here we go again. Here we go again.
All right. So this is supposed to be the real parents of these children.
Are those Obama's children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they try to fact check their way out of it and whatever, and but they're still in the kids' lives, But these two don't look like Barack Obama and or Michelle. They don't look like.
Well, for a while there, the oldest daughter had dropped Obama's name, and I see she took it back on just recently. It's she kind of said, "Dad." Ugh.
She just got busted for stealing a Nike ad and contents of a Nike ad and reusing it as a director. Pretty interesting.
I've seen she got her ass in trouble for that. She ain't gonna get any real trouble because But Obama's not in big favor right now. Not even with the Democrats. A lot of the Democrats are pissed at him, both black and white. He pissed off a lot of young black guys right off the bat. They're all like, "Yeah, dude, whatever."
They voted for Trump. People overwhelmingly, black community, Latino community, Asian community, they voted for what they. They actually voted for themselves. It wasn't just Trump. It was to protect ourselves against what this government was out of control doing. They're out of control.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's still shocking that no one really has ever gotten mad about the fraud and the wasted money. They're mad at Trump and Doge for finding it. I mean, the anger is. It's misplaced.
Well, but about 80% of the country is angry.
They're brainwashed. Ask Joe. He's a vampire.
It's the liberals.
All you gotta do is go up to people. Joe, what do you do with the vampire stuff? You kind of go up to them and go, woo, right? And then they're in your control. Vampires can control, man. So the Democrats are all under control. You know what? They're just sheep, right?
A lot of them are just sheep. That's the fucking problem. They gotta stop being sheeples and stand up for themselves.
Yeah, but they're not gonna think for themselves because most people can't. They want to be told what to do, man. I mean, I think we've established that.
It's a lot easier to have people do the thinking for you. All you got to
do. Let me tell you, my school.
Think for you, they ain't thinking for me. Fuck that.
If you were a free thinker like me, you were always in trouble. Like me, you're always in detention with the other free thinkers like me. You know what I mean? So you know what? They don't like it. If you speak out of turn, they don't like it. You just read the shit we give you, take the test, pass it, and then congratulations, you're a sheep. Here's your sheep skin. We'll give you a sheep skin. Some goat cheese, some crackers, and you're on the way.
Here comes Lola. She heard a sheep. She's oh shit, I'm coming to get some dinner, man.
Oh no.
Lola, get back, Lola. No, we're not being sheep.
No sheepies for you.
Mark, she wants up.
All right, Mike. Have a good show tonight.
Yes, we got to go get some cats. If you need anything, holler at me, Michael. I'm around. I'm just gonna go get me something to eat right quick because I'm hungry. Laura Lee always makes me hungry, but
I make you hungry.
Yeah, I don't know why. Smelling Canadians make me hungry for some reason.
Canadian back bacon, maple syrup.
Let's not even talk about that fake ass Canadian bacon shit either. That's a whole show. We're gonna do a whole show just on Canadian bacon. I'm telling you.
Maple candy.
Yeah, you've been enjoying that. Boy, them Canadians fix I charge you like gold.
I don't like maple anything. It tastes gross.
We have local maple. We don't mess with Canadian.
We got good maple.
No Vermont
New York
person
maple.
will ever buy Canadian maple syrup. It's a sin.
That's like when they try to sell New York hot sauce down here. We're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Get the fuck out of here with this. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. Thanks to everyone tuning in for the chat. I hope everybody enjoyed the Arthur's Quill earlier. Damn, I can't even do it closing because I can't stop doing it.
You know what? A burger with an egg on top.
I put the camera over that by accident. Sorry, my light.
Yeah. Anyway, guys and girls, hang out for a little while. Michael will be here. I don't know what he's talking about.
Burgers,
sex, drugs, and rock. Well, I can go for burgers too, but
I'm talking about manifestation and how you can achieve it. How you can achieve manifestation in your life. I'm giving people step-by-step ways of doing it. So yeah,
that sounds good to me. Y'all check out Michael. He'll be on in less than a couple of minutes. I'm sure he's got to get him grabbed something. We've been way late all night tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the chat and all the hosts stopping by. Any moans, groans, bitches, or complaint, again, addressed them to Michelle DeRoche, courtesy of Michael Angley. Just say Michael sent you, baby.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Bye.